Chapter 21. Meng Yingying was hoping that Chu Tian would speak up for her and encourage her sister, making her excited again. In the end, that pair of sparkling eyes filled with hints was completely ignored by a certain person. Chu Tian rubbed his stomach and weakly said, "I haven't eaten for a day, my stomach is already flat from hunger. Come to my hut, I'll treat you to a meal." Meng Yingying puffed out her cheeks and stared at him, looking like she wanted to bite him. "Why are you showing such a fierce expression? You haven't eaten for a day, what if you're starving?" Chu Tian was very strong, completely ignoring the little girl's dissatisfaction. "Eating is the most important thing right now, obediently eat. Be obedient." Truly no comprehension. The second young miss was very dissatisfied, but there was nothing she could do. In the evening, the three girls arrived in front of Chu Tian's hut. Nangong Yun was stunned on the spot. The hut was old and broken, it didn't even have a window, it was dark, stuffy, and hot. Letting a person live in this kind of place was simply torture. Chu Tian lived in this kind of ghost place. A super genius received this kind of treatment. Nangong Yun felt injustice for Chu Tian. Chu Tian really had a good temper. If it was this old lady, she would have already destroyed the Meng family. When Meng Yingying entered the hut, she acted like the mistress of the house, picking up the teapot and pouring her spirit energy. "Chu Tian will go get the ingredients, you guys drink a cup of tea first." A source energy array appeared under the teapot and the tea inside the teapot began to heat up. In just a few seconds, it began to boil and what was poured out was hot tea. Nangong Yun's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. "This is a bit interesting, how can the teapot automatically heat up?" Meng Yingying blinked her eyes, "There is a heating array that Chu Tian left here." Nangong Yun excitedly slapped her thigh, "Wonderful. Truly wonderful. This old lady has lived for so long and I never knew that source energy arrays could be used to boil tea." Meng Qingwu's clear eyes also slightly flashed. "It's hot and stuffy here. Should we go somewhere else?" Nangong Yun was so hot that she was sweating profusely. Her sweat had soaked through her thin muslin clothes and her milky white skin was faintly discernible. It made her look less wild and fiery than usual, but more seductive. At this moment, hoo. A comfortable breeze blew from both sides. Nangong Yun felt refreshed, but at the same time, she felt very strange. Wind? Where did the wind come from? What the hell? Meng Yingying giggled as she patted the wall. "Isn't it magical? This is the source energy array left behind by Chu Tian. Although it doesn't have much use, it can move the air in the room, so it can create convection. Good stuff. It was definitely something good. I must have that brat Chu Tian help me install a few at home." Nangong Yun's eyes lit up and she immediately said to Meng Qingwu, "Elder sister Qingwu, what do you think?" Meng Qingwu's brows slightly knit as she silently thought of something. She was already a bit absent-minded. Who would have thought that Meng Yingying would mysteriously say, "This doesn't count for anything, I'll show you something even more interesting." Nangong Yun was a very curious person as she excitedly clapped her hands. "Really? Quickly. Elder sister wants to see it. Quickly let elder sister see it." Pa! The small room lit up. The dark and gloomy room became bright. The two of them were shocked. When they looked up, the two beautiful faces were stunned, as if they had seen something unbelievable. Their mouths opened so wide that an apple could be stuffed in. This time Nangong Yun was completely stunned. This is truly divine. The little glass cover can even shine. Eldest senior sister doesn't understand. Meng Yingying rarely acted cool, so she proudly sat down. "Let me tell you, this is called a light bulb." Nangong Yun scratched her head. "Light bulb? Such a strange name. I've never heard of it before." Meng Qingwu's voice trembled a bit. "This wouldn't have been invented by Chu Tian, right?" Of course it was invented by Chu Tian. After drawing several source energy arrays and instilling spirit energy into them, they can interact with each other and finally produce light. One was a respectful and fearful eldest senior sister, the other was a dear elder sister. When she saw their shocked and admiring expressions, there was no need to mention how proud Meng Yingying's heart was. This was clearly Chu Tian's invention, but she didn't know why, but it gave her a lot of face, as if it was her own invention. Strange genius. A rare genius in this world. How could a normal person invent this kind of thing? Chu Tian brought in a large pile of materials: flame pork, 8-horned alligator meat, 100-year black jade lotus root, scarlet cloud pepper, 3 sun fruit, white ginseng. Chu Tian brought in a large amount of materials. Half of them were demon beast meat and the other half were precious herbs. Meng Yingying jumped up and said with puffed cheeks, "Where's my favorite steak? What kind of mess is this? What steak? No taste." Chu Tian picked up a pot with a source energy array drawn on it. "Look, you're in luck today. This one will personally cook and make a few dishes for you." "What? You can cook with this?" Meng Yingying and Nan Gongyun were both stunned. Chu Tian poured oil into the pot and heated it. The oil was extracted from demon beasts and soon a rich fragrance filled the air. Then he put in slices of pork and used the source energy array to disperse the energy in the demon beast meat, allowing the meat to be cooked at a visible speed. Then he added in the scarlet cloud pepper and various other condiments. A plate of fragrant spicy meat was finished. After around 20 minutes. Spicy meat, stir-fried lotus root, braised alligator meat, several fragrant and tasty dishes were brought to the table. The names of the dishes didn't sound strange, but the ingredients used were demon beast meat and precious herbs. The continent had never eaten like this before. Chu Tian took out a large pile of herbs and a silver-scaled fish. "I'll make a pot of fish soup, you can eat first." "No need to be polite. Let me have a taste first." Meng Yingying quickly grabbed a pair of chopsticks and placed several large slices of flaming pork into her mouth. Her cheeks bulged out, looking very cute. She chewed a few times and was stunned for a few seconds before continuing to refuse. She chewed faster and faster as her eyes lit up and her face turned red. She danced around, so fragrant, so tender, so spicy. So delicious. This was too exaggerated. This is really not bad. 2 elder sisters, quickly have a taste. Meng Qinggu doubtfully tasted a piece of black jade lotus. This was a very precious herb and was used to make healing ointments and potions. However, when Chu Tian used it as a stir-fry ingredient with the meat, it tasted delicious. There was a lingering fragrance that made people feel intoxicated, making them want to swallow their own tongues. Unbelievable. Unimaginable. Could herbs be eaten like vegetables? Nan Gongyun ate a piece of braised octagonal alligator meat. The meat was firm and full of tenacity. It was simply too delicious. The protective energy in the demon beast meat had completely disintegrated. It was not much different from normal food. However, the quality of the meat was far better than normal food. There was nothing to say about the nutrition. It was simply unbelievable. Demon beast meat and herbs could be processed in this way. Not only did it taste great, it could also fully develop the nutrients. This kind of food cooked with demon beast meat and herbs could definitely increase one's strength. Although it did not have an immediate effect like medicine, it could very gently strengthen and improve one's physique. It was not that the continent did not have the main method of cooking demon beast meat. In fact, any large family or large force would require their disciples to eat a certain amount of herbs or demon beast meat every day to strengthen their physique and achieve the effect of supporting their cultivation. However, cooking demon beast meat was relatively troublesome. It required a strong and hot fire to roast the demon beast meat. Without a certain level of ability or equipment, it could not be done. As for the taste, it was even more difficult to guarantee. The demon beast meat that people ate was generally old and coarse. It was almost impossible to swallow and could not be compared to delicacies. There was no doubt. This kind of easy, efficient and fast source energy cooking method would definitely have great market prospects. There was no need to think about it, it would definitely make a lot of money. Understood. Finally understood. Meng Yingying secretly glanced at Chu Tian, who was busy cooking the soup. Her heart slowly flowed with a trace of warmth. Although he looked carefree and frivolous on the outside, he was actually a very meticulous person. It was not that he did not understand her hint. As for persuading her verbally, it was better to use a more direct method. You're smart. Second Miss was very satisfied. I won't argue with you this time. When Chu Tian brought the fish soup up, dripping with sweat, the table was in a mess. The 3 dishes were empty and the chili had all been eaten by Meng Yingying. The 3 beauties had just finished their battle. Their heads were covered in sweat and they looked very satisfied. Their slender white legs looked even more attractive under the light. Chu Tian was dumbfounded. Damn, then what am I supposed to eat? Nangong Yun picked her teeth and seemed to want to continue. You dilly-dally yourself, who else can you blame? Quickly bring the fish soup over, big sister still hasn't eaten enough. Stop. This is mine. Less nonsense. There were at least 5 kinds of herbs in the silver scale fish soup. Not only did it greatly increase the taste of the soup, it also greatly increased the nutritional value. It had the effect of regulating the body and strengthening the physique. Chu Tian relied on pills to increase his source energy to the 3rd rank of body refinement, but his body's strength still needed to be improved. It was not impossible to use pills to strengthen the body, but taking pills for a long time would easily make the body dependent, which was not good for long-term development. Food was undoubtedly a relatively gentle and stable method. The 3 beauties did not care about their image and did not understand the tiring Chu Tian at all. In a flash, they divided up more than half of the fish. Chu Tian was reduced to the point where he could only drink the soup. Nangong Yun originally had high hopes and now she was full of longing. Source energy cooking is indeed promising. Sister Qinggu, this southern cloud commerce is riddled with holes, leaving it alone is very troublesome. Why not sell it and start a new business with us? Meng Qinggu was indeed a little moved. Although source energy cooking is good, I don't know if there are any limitations. Chu Tian, can you introduce it? Meng Yingying saw that her sister was interested and immediately scratched her head. Sister asked you a question, hurry up and say it. Chu Tian drank the last mouthful of soup and helplessly introduced, source energy cooking is a safe and convenient technique. Its core technique is a special type of cooking source energy array. In short, there are no major flaws. Meng Qinggu could not believe it, there really aren't any flaws. If I had to say there are any limitations, there are only 2. First, the limitations of the tools. Second, the limitations of the chef's cultivation. A level 1 source energy array can cook level 1 food and a level 2 source energy array can cook level 2 food. In other words, the higher the level of the food, the stronger the source energy array and the higher the chef's cultivation. The black iron pot we are currently using can only hold a level 1 array. A level 2 source energy array is too strong and the black iron pot can't handle it. We need to use black iron to make the pot and black iron is 10 times more expensive than black iron. How could this be considered a flaw? This higher level source energy array, of course it needed a higher level carrier and a higher level source energy to activate it. This was something everyone knew. So to cook level 2 demon beast meat, you first need to find black iron or other high-level metal to make the source energy pot. At the same time, you need an awakened soul realm chef to personally cook. Only then can you activate the level 2 source energy array. There were only a few dozen awakened soul realm experts in Tiannan City. Which one of them didn't have a high status? Who would want to be a chef? Actually, a level 1 source energy array was more than enough and the market was hard to imagine. Chu Tian saw that the opportunity was ripe and bluntly said, I have plans to start a company. However, I don't have any power or money right now. If you are willing to help me as a partner, I will naturally give you some of the shares. How about it, are you interested in doing something big? Yes, of course. Nangong Yun was the first to stand up, count me in. Meng Yingying raised her hand and said, I want to join. Meng Qingwu's eyes lit up as she directly asked, what is the name of your company? Chu Tian did not even think before saying, Miracle Commerce. Several voices of agreement rang out at the same time. Nangong Yun's eyes lit up, this name is very good. Light bulb. Source energy pot. This was an invention that could shock the entire kingdom, but in Chu Tian's eyes, it was just a foundation. Even in the era he lived in, it had already been eliminated. Flying in the sky, running on the ground, swimming in the water, from communication tools to war weapons, from super source energy calculators to source energy array internet, from mechanical puppets to artificial intelligence, all of these wonderful things from tens of thousands of years in the future, as long as the time and conditions were right, Chu Tian would have the opportunity to realize them. Right now, whether it was materials, abilities, talents, regional resources, or production levels, they were all too weak. So what Chu Tian could think of, he could not do. Rice had to be eaten one bite at a time, the road had to be taken one step at a time. If he took too big a step, it would be easy to tear his eggs. Looking at the world as a whole, Tiannan City is very small, this country is very small, nothing more than a drop in the ocean. Once we set sail, we are destined to embark on a long journey. Chu Tian's body released a kind of passion that could bewitch people, life is too boring, I want to become stronger bit by bit, I want to change this world bit by bit, come with me. Meng Qingwu, Meng Yingying, and Nangong Yun's bodies trembled. Because in that moment, Chu Tian seemed to have changed into a different person. His ambition was too big. Was it really possible? But the three of them were looking forward to it, they were also very excited. Life was short, why not give it a try? They still had to have dreams, what if it came true? Chapter 22. In 2 days, the mess was cleaned up. Meng Qingwu brought a few people to apply for the registration of the new company. The establishment of a new company was unavoidable. Applying for the registration was only the first step, but with Nangong Yun's connections, the complicated procedures could be quickly completed. Suddenly, the sound of wild beasts howling came from the street ahead. Look! Wolf riders! It's the Wolf Fang mercenaries. The Wolf Fang mercenaries are giving out benefits to the citizens, everyone go grab them. The citizens' eyes were filled with awe and worship. The Wolf Fang mercenaries were one of the 3 largest mercenary groups under the Ye family. Their overall strength was very strong, even the mayor had to give way. After all, this was a large mercenary group with tens of thousands of elite soldiers. At this moment, hundreds of awe-inspiring mercenaries were leading giant wolves, giant cows, and other magic beasts onto the street. Each magic beast's back was filled with red wine, beer, cooking oil, bread, flour, rice, and they were giving them to the citizens for free. Everyone, don't fight. Everyone has a share, everyone has a share. The Wolf Fang mercenaries will be opening a branch in Tiannan City. This is the branch president, Yi Han, please support him in the future. The citizens happily left after receiving the free benefits, inevitably singing the praises of the Wolf Fang mercenaries. This group of grandsons really had a way to stir up trouble. A young man who was not even 20 years old sat on the back of a war wolf and was surrounded by mercenaries. He wore silver armor and looked mighty and extraordinary. His appearance could be considered handsome, but his eyes were cold and sharp, and he had a strong and arrogant aura. Isn't that Sir Yi Xiong's eldest son, Yi Han? This is our Tiannan City's famous genius. Didn't Sir Yi Xiong send him to Zhongzhou City to cultivate a year ago? Why did he get sent back now? There were 8 large states in the southern summer country and Central State was one of them. The Ye family's headquarters was in Zhongzhou City, and Tiannan City was just an ordinary city. Yi Xiong was an elder of the Ye family. He was sent to Tiannan City 10 years ago to take care of the Ye family's business in Tiannan City. Among Yi Xiong's many sons, he valued 2 of them the most. His youngest son, Yi Feng. His eldest son was Yi Han. Yi Feng was talented in alchemy, so he was sent to learn under Li Changyun. His eldest son was talented in cultivation, so he was sent to the middle state to use the family's resources to grow. When Yi Han's cold eyes swept across the crowd, he suddenly noticed a tall and sexy figure. He immediately licked his lips and rode his wolf over slowly. President Meng Qinggu, I haven't seen you for more than a year. You've become even more beautiful and charming. Meng Qinggu replied coldly, thank you for the compliment. I think you're probably curious as to why I came back. You're thinking too much. I'm not interested at all. Yi Han's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness. A branch of the Wolf's Fang Chamber of Commerce will be established in Tiannan City. I've already purchased all of the Han family's businesses and now they're all under my management. Speaking of this, I really have to thank you. Meng Qinggu bit her lips, but didn't say anything. Yi Han arrogantly raised his head and said, I have to say, Southern Cloud Commerce has gone a bit too far this time. This time even the Ye family in the main city of the Middle State has noticed you. In fact, you should know in your heart that in front of the Middle State Ye family, you're not even an ant. We can crush you to death with just a flick of our fingers. A naked threat. She really didn't think of it. Meng Qingwu's mood was a bit heavy. The wolf had just left and now the tiger had come. This was a big problem. Right now they were preparing to establish a new chamber of commerce. If there was such a frightening opponent eyeing them covetously, she was afraid that no matter what they did, their hands and feet would be tied. Yi Han narrowed his eyes and looked at Chu Tian next to him. If I'm not wrong, this is the Chu Tian who seriously injured my little brother? It's me, your grandfather. Chu Tian never knew how to write the word polite. How can you be so shameless? Young miss is not interested in talking to you, yet you still have the cheek to come and strike up a conversation. Scram! Don't block the way. Yi Han's complexion immediately changed. Several mercenaries pulled out their weapons at the same time. How dare you! Yi Han waved his hand for the mercenaries to put away their weapons. The corner of his mouth hung a trace of a slightly playful grin. Tiannan City's Ye family almost completely destroyed your Meng family. In these 6 years, our strength has increased several times. Not to mention, we also have the support of a large family. This time, I want to see how you will withstand our anger. Meng Qinggu and her sister's faces paled. This was basically admitting that what happened 6 years ago was done by them. Could it be that father and mother were really killed by the Ye family? This bastard. Meng Yingying's eyes turned red and was about to rush out, but she was pulled back by Meng Qinggu. Meng Qinggu said to Yi Han, Blackwater Commerce ignited the fire and burned themselves. This is something that everyone in Tiannan City knows. Southern Cloud Commerce has already suffered heavy losses. We have no intention of becoming enemies with you. I hope that the Ye family will be magnanimous. Meng Yingying was indignant and confused. Why did she have to lower her voice to this kind of person? They were the enemies who killed her parents. Yi Han sat on the battle wolf and looked down at them with an aloof expression. He felt a trace of pleasure in his heart. Since you're begging me so humbly, I'll give you a chance. Cripple Chu Tian's cultivation and hand him over to me. This way, you can be safe for a while. As for the future, it will depend on whether you are obedient or not. Meng Yingying angrily shouted, in your dreams. Rest assured, I do not intend to kill him. I heard that he has a bit of talent. This young master loves talent, so I will let him live. This is already a very generous way to deal with him. Otherwise, based on what he has done, it would not be too much to cut him into pieces. You have no other choice. Hand over Chu Tian or bear the anger of the Ye family. Choose between the two. Think about it yourself. Have you said enough? Chu Tian's face was filled with contempt. He impatiently yawned and suddenly crooked his finger at Nan Gongyun. You, come here. Nan Gongyun walked over. What? Chu Tian carelessly waved his hand. With a commanding tone, he said, "Help me beat him up. When we split the shares, I will give you a little more." "Really? Thank you so much." Nan Gong-yun revealed a trace of joy. "Sister has been waiting for you to say that." Yi-han was very afraid of Nan Gong-yun. However, he still did not believe that Nan Gong-yun would dare to make a move against him. After all, the power of the Ye family was there. Seeing Nan Gong-yun walk over, he was still a little flustered. "Your bloodline is only a branch of the Nan Gong family." Nan Gong-yi finally got the position of mayor. "I advise you not to be too arrogant. A strong dragon cannot suppress a snake. If you anger the Ye family, you won't even have the position of mayor. Why don't you try and touch me?" What Yi-han said was right. Nan Gong-yi was a branch of the family. He was parachuted into Tiannan City to be the mayor. Central State did not have the support of any family. There were also many enemy families. Nan Gong-yi's foundation in Central State could not even compare to the Xiong family. Therefore, he had to be careful with his words and actions. Otherwise, he would be in danger. The Ye family was a force that could not be underestimated. Nan Gong-yi had repeatedly told his daughter that no matter who she provoked, she must not provoke the Ye family. This was the reason why Yi-han was so fearless. Nan Gong-yun did not care. "Surnamed Yi, stop acting like a tyrant here. Don't think that I can't see that you are only at the 6th rank of body refinement. In Tiannan City, you can barely be considered a genius. In Central State, you are not even worth a fart. I think it is most likely that the Ye family did not think that you have much value, so they sent you here to manage the business." "That's right, my family is a branch of the family. But do you think that the Central State Ye family would offend one of the 3 great families, the Nan Gong family, for a small character like you? Don't try to flatter yourself." Yi-han's face suddenly became ashen. Nan Gong-yun's words poked at his sore spot. A year ago, he came to the Central State main city full of hope. He did not think that as the top genius of Tiannan City, he would find that people with the same level of talent as him were plentiful. Yi-han was not valued at all. After being neglected for a whole year, he voluntarily applied to return home. Then, he encountered the Blackwater Commerce incident and picked up the position of branch president. Nan Gong-yun clenched her fists until they made a ka-ka sound. Her body suddenly blossomed with a red light. With a low phoenix cry, she immediately released a strong pressure, causing the surrounding mercenaries to involuntarily take a step back. Nan Gong-yun cracked her knuckles. "How do you want to hit me?" "If I want to hit someone, of course I want to hit their face." Did this kind of question still need to be answered? Yi-han's face became pale and his voice began to tremble. "If you dare to touch me, I guarantee that your family will not have peace. There is nothing in Tiannan City that this old lady does not dare to do." Nan Gong-yun's aura surged. Her whole body was enveloped in red magic power. She flashed through the air like a meteor. Her right hand heavily slapped Yi-han's face, causing him to fall from the wolf's back to the ground. On the spot, a few teeth were knocked out. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. She actually hit him. Yi-han was Yi Xiong's most valued son. At the same time, he was one of the most outstanding geniuses in Tiannan City. At this moment, he had just returned from the Central State to Tiannan City and had become the branch president of the Wolf's Fang Commerce. Who knew that as soon as he entered the city, he would be slapped in the face? Where did the Ye family's face go? Yi-han covered his swollen face. His eyes looked like they were about to spit fire. Being slapped in the face in front of everyone was a great humiliation to the arrogant him. "You will definitely regret this." "Pa!" Yi-han received another slap and flew into the crowd. "You trash, aren't you very arrogant?" Nan Gong-yun grabbed him, her beautiful face fierce. "Don't be a coward, fight back." Eldest young master. The mercenaries revealed a panicked expression, but no one dared to make a move against Nan Gong-yun. After all, Nangong Yun's cultivation was at the peak of the 9th level of body refinement. After all, Nangong Yun was the mayor's daughter. Not to mention, in the whole of Tiannan City, there were not many people who could beat Nangong Yun. Even if they could, how many people would dare to? Yi Han flew into a rage out of humiliation. Chu Tian. You let a woman help you, what kind of ability is that? In 12 days, Tiannan City will host a summit. If you are a man, then fight me fair and square. Nangong Yun's eyebrows rose. I will kill you first. Nangong Yun's temper was explosive and she had lost her mind. Chu Tian immediately stopped her. That's enough. Yi Han had just been sent back from the central state and was also Yi Xiong's eldest son. Although he was humiliated, he could still deal with the 2 slaps. At most, he would only cause trouble for Nangong Yi. If Nangong Yun really killed him in a moment of anger, there would be endless trouble. At least, now was not the time. What kind of person was Nangong Yun? She was a monster who was able to step into the 9th level of body refinement at the age of 18 in Tiannan City, where cultivation resources were scarce. She had a god-level spirit, a super genius with unlimited potential. Her strong personal strength and strong family background allowed her to do whatever she wanted in Tiannan City. Even the mayor could not control her. No one thought that such a witch, in front of Chu Tian, would be so obedient. Chu Tian looked at Yi Han a few times, and a trace of ridicule flashed in his eyes. I accept your challenge. We'll meet at that meeting in 10 days. Nangong Yun's eyes widened. Are you crazy? You are only at the 3rd level of body refinement. Chu Tian was at the 3rd level of body refinement. Yi Han was at the 6th level of body refinement. The gap between them was not just a little bit. Even if Chu Tian had the ability to enter hyperfocus, it would still be hard for him to defeat Yi Han. After all, the higher the level, the greater the gap between each level. It was impossible to defeat an opponent that was 3 levels higher than him. Don't we still have 10 days? What's the rush? Chu Tian very generously waved his hand. Hurry up and make this guy scram. Just looking at him makes me sick. Didn't you hear? Scram. Nangong Yun stared at Yi Han, her face fierce. Don't let this old lady see you again, or else I'll beat you up every time I see you. Yi Han covered his pig head face, revealing a trace of deep hatred. Today's humiliation will be returned 100 times. Let's go. This group of fierce mercenaries were intimidated by Nangong Yun's despotic power. They all left with their tails between their legs. Yi Han's heart was extremely sullen. Being suppressed by a few monsters in Central State City was fine, but he never thought that he would be humiliated in Tiannan City. Chu Tian. Just wait and see. At the meeting, I'll break your bones inch by inch to vent my hatred. Chapter 23. Meng Yingying's delicate cheeks turned red. If they weren't in public, she would have started cheering. Great. Really great. Elder sister was too cautious. A great enemy that she had a blood feud with, why did she have to lower her voice to them? Chu Tian really did not disappoint her, fiercely venting her anger. Meng Qinggu was not as pure as her younger sister. Her eyebrows furrowed as her heart was filled with worry. The new company had just been established and offending the Ye family was not a wise decision. But since things had come to this, she could not do anything. As for Chu Tian wanting to participate in the summit competition, did he not want his life? Meng Qinggu quickly reminded her, the Tiannan summit is held once a year. It is the pinnacle gathering of the city's business, political, and military families. The summit has a very important segment called the Genius Competition. It allows the geniuses of the younger generation to compete on the stage. Every family attaches great importance to this, so it is not child's play. Miss Nangong was the champion of the competition 2 years ago, so she should know better. Nangong Yun nodded her head and added, everyone is only allowed to participate in the genius competition once and the participants cannot be over 20 years old. The competition is related to the distribution of resources, so it is something all the families must fight over. Moreover, the competition is an open arena competition, so don't expect me to help you. Yihan did not participate last year to avoid me, and last year he went to Central State, so he did not participate either. This time he will definitely win. Meng Yingying heard this. How could this be? Yihan did not participate for 2 years in a row and had studied in Central State for a year. Now that he was almost 20 years old, he had reached the upper limit of the competition. His strength would definitely be very strong. Not to mention, the other families would also have many experts. Elder sister had brought her to see it once or twice. Every year the competition was very fierce and there would always be casualties. Chu Tian's cultivation was not high, so wouldn't he be in danger? Meng Yingying used her finger to poke Chu Tian. Hey, don't get involved. Nan Gongyun continued to say, that's right, he's purely looking for abuse. Chu Tian became indignant. Do you guys have no confidence in me? How do you know I'll be tortured? Well, Chu Tian, have lived for 2 lifetimes and have never been looked down upon by anyone. I was just saying it casually, but now I have to go. The 3 women looked at each other in dismay. Chu Tian had clearly made up his mind, so they could only sigh helplessly. Forget it, just let him join in the fun. With Chu Tian's strength, he would probably be eliminated in the preliminaries, so there was no need to worry about him going up against Yihan. It was probably because of the pressure. For the past 2 days, Chu Tian had been consuming large amounts of medicinal herbs and demon beast meat. At the same time, he had begun to train intensely. The strength of his spirit energy was gradually approaching the peak of the 3rd level. As long as there was a suitable opportunity, he would be able to break through to the 4th level of body refinement. The 4th rank of the body refinement realm was enough for him to compete with Yihan. If he improved a little more, even if it was only the peak of the 4th rank, he would have the confidence to defeat Yihan. In terms of time, it was enough. Other than that, the application for Miracle Commerce was successful and it was called Miracle Source Energy Array Technology Limited Chamber of Commerce. Currently, the Chamber of Commerce was just an empty shell. It did not have any products, nor did it have any business. It was very low-key, and not many people knew about it. Right now, no one could imagine it. This kind of chamber of commerce that was born in a small city in a small country with poor resources would set off an unimaginably strong revolution and shock in the entire continent in the future. Meng Qinggu began to report the situation of the past 2 days. I bought 2 small glass factories and began to prepare for the production of light bulbs. As she spoke, she took out 2 small glass balls from her bosom. These are samples, you guys take a look first. The glass ball was a closed pear shape with a few thin metal pieces inside, like a metal flower bud. These were fire copper pieces used to engrave source energy arrays. The few of them looked at each other and were very satisfied. At least it was much better than the one in Chu Tian's room. Chu Tian sized it up. Overall, it was quite rough. However, the current production level and production technology were limited. It was not realistic to want to make luxurious lamps and lanterns, so they could only make do with it. Meng Qinggu continued to say, I plan to buy a high-class restaurant in the center of South Sky City, preparing to open a source energy restaurant. Only, we have a problem, we are lacking people. The production of light bulbs was almost completely done by hand, so it was impossible for Chu Tian to do it alone. Chu Tian thought it was something big. That's easy. Pick a secret production base and find a group of people who are safe and trustworthy. They also know how to use talismans. I'll give them the production technology. Meng Qingwu's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. You're this confident in taking out the technology? You wouldn't want me to be responsible for the entire production, right? Chu Tian's mouth dropped open in an exaggerated manner. This will tire me to death. How many beautiful girls will be heartbroken? How many pitiful commoners will suffer? How much damage will the world suffer? Can you afford it? Meng Yingying's face turned red as she scolded, Pay. Narcissistic. The light bulb was a subversive product. The continent's biological lamps and crystal lamps were very expensive. As for candles and oil lamps, they were not easy to use. Other lighting methods were not popular or troublesome. In short, they were not satisfactory. This light bulb was a cheap and practical product. It would definitely cause a big sensation. Not to mention its economic value, the commerce would quickly earn its first pot of gold. This was a technology with unlimited prospects. Chu Tian took it out without even blinking. Did he trust her that much? Meng Qingwu's heart was a little moved. In reality, she was thinking too much. The reason why Chu Tian took out the technology without blinking was because he did not put it in his eyes. As the commerce's first product, the earlier it came out the better. South Cloud Commerce had a new pharmaceutical factory. At the beginning, they had considered safety and secrecy, so they built it in the suburbs. It was very sturdy and the goods and materials were transported through secret passages. This way, it would not be easy for the secret product to be exposed. This pharmaceutical factory had already stopped operating, so it was now turned into a secret production base for the light bulb. Meng Qingwu selected 10 trustworthy people and Nan Gongyun from the Nangong family's guards. She found 20 people to make up the numbers. These people were not Central State locals and they were loyal to the Nangong family. From a security point of view, there was no problem. The next day, Chu Tian personally went to the factory to inspect. The production base was in the suburbs and there were mercenaries guarding it. There were several trusted people inside, so it was a very safe place. Chu Tian gave them the source energy array design for the light bulb. Like this, Miracle Commerce's first production team was formed. After everything was done, Chu Tian did not stop. He rode the beast carriage with Meng Yingying back to the city. Meng Yingying sat in the bumpy beast carriage. Her small face was filled with longing. The day Miracle Commerce is officially established, the entire South Sky City will be stirred. It really makes people look forward to it. Chu Tian was about to say something. Who would have thought that at this time? A strong sense of danger would come over him. This kind of intuition towards unknown danger had saved Chu Tian countless times. Therefore, Chu Tian believed it without a doubt and acted on reflex. He suddenly jumped over and hugged Meng Yingying. The two of them tightly hugged each other as they fell onto the floor of the carriage. Meng Yingying's young and beautiful body was like a ball of soft and elastic cotton. Meng Yingying was scared silly by Chu Tian. Her face turned red and her heart began to beat faster. Chu Tian. He wouldn't be thinking of doing that to me, right? Peng, peng, peng. 3-4 cold arrows pierced through the carriage. Meng Yingying suddenly woke up and her small face turned white. Someone wants to assassinate us. Who could it be? There was no time to think. So. Another few arrows were shot in. The arrows were filled with strong spirit energy. It was like shooting through a layer of paper, easily piercing through a few centimeters of the template. Chu Tian covered Meng Yingying's mouth. From the direction of the arrows and the density of the arrows, he made a judgment. Northeast direction. At least 7 or 8 people. Chu Tian picked up Meng Yingying and fiercely slammed the carriage window. The two of them flew out of the carriage and landed heavily on the ground. When Meng Yingying looked back, she saw that the coachman had lost several blood vessels and was now dead. The wildebeest that was pulling the carriage was startled and crashed into a tree, causing the whole carriage to fall to the ground. From the underbrush, more than 10 black-clothed people suddenly came out. The number was even more than they expected. Chu Tian pulled Meng Yingying and shouted, "The forest in front, quickly hide inside." The black-clothed people jumped up with astonishing speed. Most of them were at the 6th rank of body refinement. With this kind of strength, even in Tiannan City, they could be considered experts. Nanyun Commerce's guard, Meng Shan, was only at the peak of the 7th rank. They were definitely a group of well-trained assassins. This place was 5 miles away from Tiannan City. Every day, there were soldiers patrolling to prevent and control the demon beasts. There were also many Tian Nan Commerce's material factories, lumberyards, quarries, farms, and so on. Although it was the outskirts, it was still a safe area. Chu Tian had been in seclusion for the past few days. He did not expect that as soon as he went out, he would encounter such a dangerous ambush. Chu Tian could only helplessly take Meng Yingying and escape into the forest. This was very risky. Outside of Tiannan City, the safe area and the dangerous area were clearly divided. This was because the demon beasts were very territorial. Randomly running around could disturb the demon beast's territory. If a powerful demon beast was attracted, the consequences would be unthinkable. Their reaction is not slow. A sinister-looking middle-aged man coldly said, "Chase. I want to catch him alive. I want him to live a life worse than death." The black-clothed assassins threw away their bows and pulled out their weapons. Like a dozen arrows, they chased after them. Meng Yingying felt the assassins approaching. She clenched her teeth and said to Chu Tian, "I'll hold them off. Hurry up and run. Don't tease me, with just the peak of the 4th rank, any one of them can kill you in a second." Although Chu Tian was moved, he bitterly smiled and said, "Don't speak nonsense. I'm not." Meng Yingying took out an almost transparent light red pill from her bosom. Her small face showed a determined expression. "I'll eat this pill. It should be able to hold them off for a while." Crimson Lotus Pill. "Why are you carrying this?" "This pill has a special commemorative value to me, so I've always kept it by my side." Chu Tian became excited. There really was a way out. He wanted to hug Meng Yingying and kiss her. "Second miss, you are my savior. Give it to me." Chu Tian snatched the Crimson Lotus Pill and swallowed it. A burning hot feeling emitted from his dantian and instantly spread through his meridians. There was a slight prickling feeling. Under some kind of strong stimulation, his body began to produce spirit energy faster and faster, making his spirit energy several times stronger. The Crimson Lotus Pill still needs some time to fully take effect. Chu Tian picked up Meng Yingying, and with a light kick of his legs, he released his powerful elemental energy. Without much effort, he was able to jump several meters away. His body was as light as a swallow. Shadow Swallow Steps. This martial art was not profound, but with his current cultivation, it was the best choice. This kind of martial art could greatly increase his speed. Chu Tian also had the minute subtlety ability. Even in a forest environment, he could still advance at an extremely fast speed. The sinister-looking middle-aged man revealed a look of astonishment. "Damn, how did his speed become so fast?" "Immediately increase your speed, no matter what, we cannot let him escape." Meng Yingying was carried in Chu Tian's embrace. Probably due to the effects of the Crimson Lotus Pill, she felt that Chu Tian's body was becoming hotter and hotter, as if there was a flame burning in his meridians. She couldn't help but worry. This kind of pill that forcefully increased his cultivation would definitely cause intense pain. She couldn't do anything but tightly hug Chu Tian, hoping to share some of his burden. The Crimson Lotus Pill's effects were fully displayed within 5 minutes, causing Chu Tian's spirit energy to increase by several folds. From the peak of the 3rd rank, he had instantly jumped to the peak of the 5th rank. This was the limit of the pill's effects. Furthermore, the Crimson Lotus Pill's effects could not be maintained for long. Once the effects were over, it would be replaced by an intense side effect, causing one to feel intense fatigue, almost to the point of being unable to move. No, it wasn't enough. This kind of speed wasn't enough to throw them off. Chu Tian revealed a serious expression. "Second young miss, they are coming for me, I've implicated you." Meng Yingying stared at Chu Tian's face, but there wasn't much fear in her eyes, rather there was a kind of blurriness. She was lying in Chu Tian's embrace, feeling that Chu Tian's heartbeat was fast and filled with power, making her feel a sense of security, like she was in a dream. Meng Yingying's face was filled with stubbornness. "I'm not afraid. Second young miss." Don't call me second young miss. It sounds strange. Meng Yingying's crystal clear eyes revealed a complex look. Can you just call me Yingying? All right. Chu Tian's heart felt warm. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to at least protect the safety of the girl in his embrace. Chu Tian's aura gradually became fierce. Yingying, I'm prepared to go all out. Meng Yingying nodded her head. Go, you don't need to worry about me. Chu Tian jumped high into the air. Swallow shadow steps, swallow returns to the nest. Chu Tian stepped on a big tree, and without the slightest inertia, he suddenly bounced back. The black-clothed men saw that they were about to catch up, so they rushed forward at full speed. They did not think that Chu Tian would suddenly counterattack. Ah! A pitiful cry rang out. Chu Tian swept his leg through the air, and a black-clothed man at the 6th level of body refinement died on the spot with his bones and tendons broken. The other black-clothed men were shocked. No one thought that Chu Tian's battle strength would be this terrifying. Chapter 24. When Meng Yingying saw the sinister middle-aged man, she immediately recognized him and angrily shouted, Han Song, so it's you. That's right. The middle-aged man was Han Song. After Blackwater Commerce was destroyed and Han Song escaped through the secret passage, he spent a lot of money to bribe a group of assassins to hide in secret, waiting for the chance to take revenge. At this moment, Han Song's eyes, which were as sinister as an old owl's, were brewing with a vicious glint. This brat belongs to me, and the woman belongs to you. I only have one request, ruthlessly ravage and torture her. Don't let her die too comfortably. The black-clothed man revealed a lewd expression and agreed with a sinister smile. Don't worry, we're very good at this kind of thing. We'll definitely make you satisfied. Seeing this, Meng Yingying's small face turned pale and she secretly prepared herself. Even if she had to commit suicide, she couldn't be captured by the other party. The black-clothed men were all at the 6th level of body refinement. Han Song had even reached the 7th level of body refinement. A person who forcefully used medicine to raise his cultivation, but lacked battle experience and proficiency in martial arts, simply couldn't beat a cultivator of the same level who cultivated normally. What's more, Chu Tian was only at the peak of the 5th level of body refinement. What's more, these black-clothed men were well-trained assassins, not something ordinary cultivators and martial artists could compare to. Could they win? Impossible. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. Han Song's heart was filled with the thrill of revenge. Ha ha ha, you fell into my hands so quickly. You think you can deal with us by using medicine to raise your cultivation? If I don't cut you into 1,000 pieces today, I won't be able to resolve the hatred in my heart. Chu Tian didn't waste any words, because the effect of the medicine was very short, every minute and second was precious. His legs suddenly kicked off and he attacked like a meteor. Old man, let me see what you've got. Was this guy crazy? He actually took the initiative to seek death. Get out of the way. I'll do it myself. Han Song had cultivated for half his life and could be considered an expert in Tiannan City. How could he be afraid of Chu Tian who hadn't even grown his hair yet? In his eagerness for revenge, he roared and brazenly faced Chu Tian head-on. His right fist gathered surging magic power, his entire arm emitted a faint metallic luster, and he smashed towards Chu Tian with a sinister smile. This was a martial art of extreme yang, Vajra fist. Han Song could almost see the scene of Chu Tian's bones breaking and tendons snapping. Die! Chu Tian had already entered the state of minute subtlety. Everything in the world suddenly slowed down. From Han Song gathering his strength to punching, the whole process was clearly imprinted in his mind. Based on the current strength of his body and origin energy, it was impossible for him to face it head-on. Otherwise, he would either die or be crippled. Once the Vajra fist was used, one's arm would be as hard as iron and the strength would be as great as a dragon. It was a martial art that was both offensive and defensive, but it had a very obvious weakness. Too slow. The pores all over Chu Tian's body spewed out origin energy, and it actually formed a stream of air around his body, causing Chu Tian's forward speed to suddenly increase. Combined with the powerful judgment of minute subtlety, he abruptly dodged Han Song's ferocious fist wind. Damn it! He dodged it. Han Song hurriedly withdrew, and Chu Tian seized this fleeting opportunity. His right arm condensed and compressed surging origin energy, and like a rocket, he heavily smashed onto Han Song's chest. Rushing Heaven Fist. Han Song's clothes were instantly torn apart. The air pressure that erupted sent him flying, and he fiercely crashed into a large tree. Countless leaves fell down, and the thick tree also snapped. Han Song was sent flying by Chu Tian in one move. Everyone was shocked. A person who relied on medicine to temporarily increase his cultivation, according to reason, it was impossible for him to skillfully display the true strength of a peak 5th rank body refinement cultivator. Even if he really had the strength of a peak 5th rank body refinement cultivator, it was still impossible for him to directly repel Han Song. In between, there was a gap of 2 ranks. Simply monstrous. This was a genius even more terrifying than Nangong Yun. If he didn't get rid of him today, he wouldn't have another chance in the future. Han Song wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and sinisterly laughed. Your fist technique is not bad, and your speed is very fast, but your strength is too weak, you can't beat me. No matter how amazing his battle strength was, he was still limited by his cultivation. Chu Tian's swift and violent fist was unable to break the protective origin energy of a 7th rank body refinement cultivator. Although Han Song received not a light injury, it wasn't enough to seriously injure him to the point of death. Han Song coldly said, "You originally had a good future, but recklessly stood up for the Meng family. The hatred of killing my son, the hatred of exterminating my family, is absolutely irreconcilable. I will use the cruelest method in the world to torture you. 10 days, 100 days, 1,000 days, I will make you beg for death. I will make you regret being born into this world. You've said too much." Chu Tian's eyes flashed with a trace of ridicule, and with a cold tone, he said one word at a time, "In fact, you're already dead." You're already dead? This brat wouldn't be crazy, right? Otherwise, how could he say such words? A full-strength strike only caused a minor injury, nothing more, and he actually dared to say such crazy words. Han Song felt a burst of abnormality, and his 2 eyes suddenly widened into round circles. He didn't know when, but a talisman had been stuck to his chest. The talisman's array pattern emitted light, which was clearly a sign that it had been activated. From the red lines, it was a fire attribute talisman. When did he stick it on? Not good. Han Song was scared out of his wits, and simply didn't have enough time to throw away the talisman, because he heard Chu Tian's cold voice explode. Like a terrifying death knell, it fiercely rang in Han Song's heart. No! The talisman exploded, and the raging flames rolled up several meters high. Han Song was directly blown away like a piece of paper. Rushing Heaven Fist was a diversionary tactic, the real attack was this talisman technique. There were many auxiliary professions on the continent, such as talisman masters, alchemists, blacksmiths, and so on, all forming their own schools. Most of the auxiliary professions leaned towards the production type, and only talisman masters assisted in battle. The most famous talisman master in Tiannan City was Zhang Liqing. It was impossible for Chu Tian not to take any precautions. These past few days, he had specially made several talismans for himself, specifically for self-defense in special circumstances. The talismans that Chu Tian had personally made were much more powerful than those of this era. When activated with the magic power of a peak 5th rank body refinement cultivator, this detonation talisman was enough to kill Han Song in one hit. Han Song fell heavily to the ground, his entire chest had been blown open, and his entire body was still burning with flames. He roared and struggled, but with this kind of injury, even an awakened soul cultivator would die. I'm not willing. At this moment, he suddenly regretted. Why wasn't he content? Why did he make a move against the Meng family? Blackwater commerce was already like the sun in the sky. If they had continued to operate peacefully, how could they have ended up like today? Just a moment ago, he was incomparably arrogant. Now he died with his eyes wide open. The contrast was so big, how could people accept it? This brat's methods were really terrifying. The black-clothed man revealed a cautious expression. Chu Tian felt the cold killing intent pervading the air, and his eyebrows wrinkled a little. The most troublesome opponent had already been eliminated, but Chu Tian didn't have that many talismans, and he didn't have that much magic power to activate them. The same move could not be used repeatedly. Perhaps a bloody battle of life and death was unavoidable. The Crimson Lotus Pill's effect was roughly 15 minutes, this time was definitely enough, but his chances of victory were only 20 to 30%, and this was still in a direct confrontation. If the assassin held Meng Yingying hostage to threaten him, Chu Tian might not even have a 20% chance of victory. No matter what, rather than sitting and waiting for death, it was better to go all out and fight. Even an old fox like Han Song fell, you brat really do have some methods. But using the talisman technique consumed a lot of your magic power, how will you deal with us next? The black-clothed man slowly surrounded him. I advise you to obediently give up resisting, we will be merciful and give you a chance to commit suicide. As for that woman, after us dozen brothers enjoy ourselves, we will naturally give her a quick death. Chu Tian slowly breathed in and out, adjusting the magic power in his body, letting his body maintain its peak condition. What's with all this nonsense? My life is right here, if you really have the ability then come and take it. Even when facing an absolute disadvantage, even when facing the threat of death, Chu Tian did not shrink back at all. Meng Yingying was somewhat absent-minded. She believed that with Chu Tian's ability, if he wanted to escape alone, he was completely capable of doing it. But this usually cheeky, frivolous, and lecherous youth, at this moment became overbearing, frivolous, and decisive, like a young hero who never knew what fear was, blocking in front of her without a second thought. That body was not considered tall, but it was like a tall mountain, blocking the turbulent torrent for her. Chu Tian, you're really so silly. A crystalline teardrop flowed out from the corner of Meng Yingying's eye. Good lad. Attack for me. I don't believe that a mere peak 5th level, he can still deal with our encirclement. The black-clothed men were about to launch an attack. Right at this time, from the left side of the forest, a brutal and bloodthirsty aura suddenly gushed out, accompanied by a low and bloodthirsty roar. There were magic beasts. Everyone's heart jumped, and immediately looked over. A pair of emerald green eyes appeared in the forest, but it was filled with coldness, cruelty, and tyranny. This was impressively a giant black wolf. This wolf was about the height of a person, and its body was extremely large. Its most notable feature was the pair of huge wings on its back. Black-winged wind wolf. For the first time, Chu Tian revealed a look of shock. Because an adult black-winged wind wolf generally had the battle strength of a peak 9th level body refinement cultivator. Not to mention these people, even Xiong Tianyan might not be its opponent. Even if the terrifying Nangong Yun was present, he would still have to experience a bitter battle to defeat this wolf. While the others were in a daze, Chu Tian decisively used swallow shadow steps, and like a gust of wind, he carried Meng Yingying on his shoulder, and with a leap, he jumped into the forest, and in the blink of an eye, he had slipped out 100 meters. Fuck! He ran away. Quickly chase after him. The winged wind wolf's body glowed with a greenish-black spirit energy, and 2 greenish wind blades shot out at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. 2 black-clothed men wanted to chase after Chu Tian, but were cut in half at the waist. This beast was this powerful. Let's not care about that brat first. If we don't kill this wolf, then no one will be able to escape today. The winged wind wolf roared and pounced over like a phantom. With a swipe of its claws, it crushed the head of one of the black-clothed men on the spot. Then, it pounced on another black-clothed man and easily tore open his stomach. Kill. A sword stabbed into the winged wind wolf's back, but the result was that it did not even cut through the winged wind wolf's skin. The winged wind wolf's body emitted a large amount of profound runes, and the surging power suddenly rebounded, causing the long sword to instantly break apart. The fragments were like flying knives, all stabbing into the black-clothed man's body. Then, the demon wolf fiercely slammed him 10 meters away. The black-clothed man was completely dumbfounded. "We can't beat it. Quickly run." These weak humans attacking it had completely angered the cruel winged wind wolf. How could it let any one of them go? Under the surge of green spirit energy, it became as fast as the wind. Like an arrow that was shot out, it flashed back and forth a few times in the air. The forest was filled with screams and blood, and flesh blossomed everywhere. There was no suspense. The black-clothed men were completely annihilated. The demon wolf began to wantonly enjoy the human flesh and blood. When its stomach was completely full, it used its nose to sniff the forest. There were actually 2 that ran away. The winged wind wolf's temperament was extremely cruel, and it did not have the habit of letting any prey go. It immediately followed the scent and chased. This was a demon beast that was at the peak of the 9th level of body refinement. How could Chu Tian compare to its speed? The winged wind wolf had already eaten its fill, and purely chased after its prey with a tyrannical attitude. It did not use its full strength, purposely not catching up, nor did it kill the 2 people. It only occasionally sent out 1 or 2 wind blades to provoke its prey. Its green eyes had a playful look, as if it really enjoyed watching humans flee in a sorry state. This was like seeing a ghost. This damned beast was using me as a toy to play with after dinner. Even if it was against the black-clothed assassins, I would have a 20 to 30% chance of winning. But now, my chance of winning was completely 0. Fuck, why am I so unlucky? Chapter 25. The power of the Crimson Lotus pill had completely disappeared. A strong sense of exhaustion that could topple mountains and overturn seas made Chu Tian's vision darken, and he almost fainted. Roar! The black-winged wind wolf lost its patience. With a low and brutal roar, cyan magic power condensed around its body, and with a leap like an arrow, a biting cold and terrifying killing intent pervaded the air. Oh no! I can't stop. Chu Tian used all his strength to circulate his magic power, and an incomparably intense pain spread throughout his body like a burning fire. This kind of pain that overdrew the body. Normal people would not be able to endure it. Every meridian had a kind of shattering pain, but along with this pain, a miraculous surge of power came from his almost completely drained body. Under the limit, he had unexpectedly broken through. But Chu Tian was not happy. In front of the black-winged wind wolf, there was not much difference between the 3rd and the 4th rank of body refinement. Life or death was in the blink of an eye. At this time, a pool with a radius of about 20 meters blocked the front, and opposite it was a cave. It was impossible to jump over the pool, and there was no time to take a detour. Chu Tian clenched his teeth and jumped. With a splash, the 2 fell into the bone-chilling pool water. The black-winged wind wolf followed closely behind, and was about to gather its strength to launch a fatal attack. At this time, a roar came from the cave opposite the pool. Hiss hiss. Some creature was startled. The black-winged wind wolf immediately stopped its movements in fear, and slowly took a step back. It arched its back, bared its teeth, and growled. Its 2 green eyes stared unwaveringly at the cave, as if it was facing a great enemy. A 15-meter-long blood-colored python slowly drilled out. Its entire body was covered with beautiful patterns, and its blood-red scales were bright and tender. They sparkled under the sunlight, as if they were carved out of rubies. On its ferocious and huge python head, there was a single black horn, making it look majestic. Blood-woven flood python. Chu Tian was soaking in the bone-chilling pool water. When he saw this creature, his face flashed a trace of horror. This was a kind of demon beast that had the opportunity to evolve into a flood dragon. Ordinary blood-woven flood pythons did not have horns. When they grew a single horn, it also meant that they had completed a crucial evolution. Even the weakest of them would have the strength of a human cultivator at the awakened soul realm. The blood-woven flood python's realm was higher than the black-winged wind wolf's, but because it had just completed its transformation, it was in an extremely weak state. Its realm was only at the first layer of the awakened soul realm, but its true battle strength was only at the peak of the 9th layer of body refinement. Two weak humans sandwiched in between two dangerous fierce beasts, life and death hanging by a thread. Meng Yingying's mind went blank. She closed her eyes in despair. It was over. She was really dead. Roar. Hiss, hiss. However, after the wolf and python discovered each other, they ignored the two weak humans at the same time. Instead, they glared at each other and roared at each other in a threatening manner. The way magical beasts grew up was extremely cruel, and their territorial instincts were also very strong. The black-winged wind wolf was a relatively low-level magical beast. Only by devouring the beast cores and flesh of higher-level magical beasts could it hope to evolve further. This abnormally weak blood-woven flood python, wasn't this a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? The blood-woven flood python was an irritable and arrogant creature. When the black-winged wind wolf intruded into its territory, especially after discovering the other party's intentions, it naturally became as furious as thunder. Chu Tian's heart skipped a beat. If these two fellows could fight, perhaps there would be a chance of survival. The problem was that magical beasts were not brainless idiots. This kind of battle strength was similar, and no one had an absolute advantage. It was very difficult to fight. If nothing unexpected happened, the black-winged wind wolf would definitely take the initiative to retreat. This would not do. The opportunity was fleeting. Rather than sitting and waiting for death, it was better to take a risk. Chu Tian suddenly threw out a glyph, instantly activating a level 1 glyph technique, water binding. The blood-woven flood python was completely unprepared, and was suddenly entangled by 4 pillars of water. Chu Tian of course did not expect to injure it, but it was enough to distract the blood-woven flood python. The power of the glyph technique could also affect its mobility. It must be known that in a duel between two experts, even the slightest interference or flaw could be taken advantage of by the other party. Chu Tian wanted to create a flaw, and let the hesitating black-winged wind wolf see an opportunity. Once the black-winged wind wolf made its move, the blood-woven flood python would inevitably retaliate, and a great battle would be unavoidable. Of course, this was extremely risky. What if the black-winged wind wolf did not seize the opportunity? What if the black-winged wind wolf did not have time to react? What if the blood-woven flood python was enraged and killed the two of them first? Although this was a huge gamble, Chu Tian had no other choice. For this reason, he exhausted the last of his strength and immediately sank into the deep pool. Ah! Chu Tian. Meng Yingying hurriedly dived into the water to fish him out. The blood-woven flood python was enraged. It straightened its body, and a blood-red energy gathered on top of its head. It was about to turn into a bolt of red lightning and shoot towards the two. The two's lives were hanging by a thread, and they were about to be killed. Bang! Bang! 2 powerful green wind blades swept over, fiercely hacking at the blood-woven flood python's body. A large piece of scale was torn off on the spot, and 2 deep wounds were created. Roar! The black-winged wind wolf soared into the air, pouncing with the force of a thunderbolt. The blood-woven flood python roared angrily, breaking free from the weak restraints of the water. 3 or 4 bolts of red lightning shot from its single horn, all of them shooting towards the black-winged wind wolf in midair. The black-winged wind wolf dodged a few, but the last one hit its left wing, causing it to fall from midair. The blood-woven flood python pounced forward. The black-winged wind wolf brazenly met the enemy head-on. Boom! The 2 magical beasts collided heavily. A terrifying magical beast battle was about to begin. Everywhere they passed, the earth was pushed aside, and the grass and trees were overturned. The momentum was terrifying, and it made one's heart tremble. Meng Yingying took the opportunity to drag Chu Tian ashore, hiding behind a large moss-covered rock. She panicked and squeezed his chest, forcing Chu Tian to spit out the water in his stomach. "How are you?" Chu Tian's face was pale. He waved his hand, saying, "It's just a side effect, nothing serious." "You're really too powerful and quick-witted. At such a critical moment, you instigated a battle between them. They seem to be about the same strength, and will definitely injure both sides. This way, we'll have a chance to escape." Meng Yingying's entire body was drenched. Her thin silk clothes clung tightly to her body, fully outlining her full breasts, her slender waist, and her perfectly round buttocks. Chu Tian smiled bitterly. "It's not that easy. The magical beasts were able to survive in the cruel jungle, and they were definitely not impulsive fools. Survival was always the first priority. Evolution and reproduction were all secondary. It was unwise for both sides to injure each other. If it really reached this point, then the weaker side would definitely choose to escape, avoiding serious injury or death." Chu Tian looked up. In the little girl's chest, 2 snow-white jade bunnies were dripping with sparkling water, slowly flowing into the bottomless ravine. It was a strong temptation, making one's blood boil. Chu Tian didn't forget to tease her. "Remember, this time it's because I didn't abandon you, didn't give up, that you could keep your little life. If we're lucky enough to return alive, I won't ask for much. Just give me 100 or 200,000 gold coins. As for repaying me with your body, I'll consider it." "Pay? At this time, you're still so bad." Meng Yingying was about to carry Chu Tian on her back. "What should we do? Why don't we take advantage of the fact that they haven't decided a winner and I'll carry you out of here?" "No." Chu Tian shook his head. "There's not enough time, we can't go far." What should they do? Were they really going to die here? Chu Tian pointed in a direction. "You support me to that side of the forest. Don't ask so many questions, hurry up." Meng Yingying hurriedly carried Chu Tian on her back, circling around the forest with the fastest speed. This direction was directly facing the blood-woven flood python's cave. At this moment, the 2 magical beasts were fiercely fighting ahead. "You take a paralysis talisman." Chu Tian stuffed a talisman into Meng Yingying's hand. "If the black-winged wind wolf wants to escape, you activate the talisman to hold him back. The black-winged wind wolf will definitely escape." "Definitely. This is the blood-woven flood python's territory. The blood-woven flood python has no path of retreat, so it will definitely fight to the death. Once the battle reaches a stalemate, the black-winged wind wolf won't fight to the death, so it will definitely want to retreat. If we want to see both sides suffer, then we can't let one of them escape alive." Was this true or false? Could Chu Tian predict the future? Just as Meng Yingying was a little skeptical. After a few minutes of bloody battle, the black-winged wind wolf really began to want to retreat. It shot a few wind blades at the blood-woven flood python, then turned around and fled in the opposite direction. "Now! Quickly!" The talisman was activated, the talisman burned, and an unremarkable gray light beam shot out. The black-winged wind wolf's reaction speed was very fast, and it immediately dodged. But it was still hit in the hind leg, and it instantly lost its sense of direction, allowing the blood-woven flood python to catch up. Boom! The python's long body directly entangled the giant wolf, and the black-winged wind wolf, not to be outdone, retaliated with its teeth. The 2 vicious beasts tangled together, and the fierce battle began anew, falling into a stalemate. "Hide!" The 2 hid in the bushes for about 5 or 6 minutes, the angry roars and roars of the 2 magical beasts incessantly ringing in their ears. Suddenly, there was no more movement. Was the battle over? Meng Yingying was extremely nervous, and she cautiously stretched out her head. The ground was covered in blood and broken scales. The intensity of the battle could be imagined. The 2 magical beasts were covered in cuts and bruises, lying on the ground. The blood-woven flood python was tightly entangled in the black-winged wind wolf's body, almost crushing all of the giant wolf's bones. The black-winged wind wolf used its teeth to tear apart the python's body, even dragging out all of its internal organs. The two magical beasts just lay there motionless. Meng Yingying's eyes slowly widened. No way. Mutual destruction. After a few minutes, the two magical beasts still did not move. They really perished together. Meng Yingying grabbed Chu Tian's arm and shouted, "Wow! These two fellows are dead, I am completely safe." Meng Yingying's admiration for Chu Tian immediately rose to the level of worship. Such a dangerous situation. Such a dangerous segment. Every minute, every second, his life was hanging by a thread, and Chu Tian was very calm from beginning to end. He accurately predicted every possibility, and finally found a chance of survival from the cracks. Who could do it? Chu Tian did it. Meng Yingying quickly said, "Let's leave." Chu Tian bluntly knocked Meng Yingying's head, "Stupid. If you leave like this, how can you face me? There's no time to take these materials, at least dig out the beast cores." That's right, he was so happy that he almost forgot. The beast cores were the source of a magical beast's power, and were a very precious material. The beast cores of these two magical beasts, just how valuable would they be? Meng Yingying quickly took action. The surface of the two beast cores were covered with complex patterns, and they were filled with strong fluctuations of spirit energy. The blood-woven flood python's beast core was bright red like blood, and the energy was even purer. It faintly emitted a flood python's roar, and it was filled with a kind of terrifying might. Beast soul. Beast soul was a very precious thing. This kind of thing could only be condensed from the beast cores of level 2 and above demon beasts. After a demon beast died, it would take at most a week for the beast core to dissipate, turning it into a normal beast core. So it was not easy to preserve, and the market price was frighteningly high. Chu Tian nodded his head in satisfaction. To him, this beast soul had a special use. "I can't walk right now, quickly help me to the cave in front to rest." Chu Tian really did not know how to write the word polite. He took the initiative to hug Meng Yingying's shoulder, and most of his body leaned on her. This scoundrel. Meng Yingying's little face turned red, and she secretly spat. "Since you're a patient, I'll let you take advantage of me this time." She supported Chu Tian, and the two slowly walked into the cave. The inside was filled with a fishy smell. The ground was filled with remains, and there were many broken armors and weapons. At this time, a strange spring appeared in front of them. The stones around the mouth of the spring were all bright red, and the spring water was also a bright red liquid like blood. There were some faint bubbles on the surface, but there was a refreshing aura that filled the air, making the air in the cave much better. More than 10 precious herbs were scattered around the spring. 100-year blood lingji, 100-year dragon vein ginseng, 100-year amethyst bamboo. Meng Yingying couldn't contain her joy. My God, there are so many elixirs. Among these herbs, Meng Yingying could only recognize one or two, but they were all priceless treasures. In the entire Tiannan city's medicine market, it would be hard to find even one. These were treasures that could only be found by luck. From the quality of these herbs, they were at least 200 or 300 years old, and their medicinal strength was extremely strong. Each herb could at least increase one's cultivation by several years. One who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune. They had earned big. This time they had really earned big. Meng Yingying grabbed Chu Tian, and excitedly shouted, "Do you see? Do you see? There are all kinds of treasures in here." Chu Tian turned a blind eye to the elixirs. He walked step by step to the side of the blood spring. "I'm really lucky." Chu Tian's eyes became hot. This is the spirit spring of life. Chapter 26. Forests, grasslands, these places flourished with life, ranging from dozens of li to thousands of li. The life within the entire range, due to some special circumstances, would give birth to a spirit spring. This was the spring of life. The spirit spring of life was a gift from nature. It was a natural healing station. The spring water did not need to be processed and could be used to heal, detoxify, and relieve fatigue. When a magical beast occupied the spirit spring of life, no matter how serious its injuries were, as long as it was still breathing, it could run to the spirit spring and soak in it, and its injuries would quickly recover. Long-term soaking in the hot spring could even strengthen one's physique. This was the magical effect of the spirit spring of life. Humans controlled the spirit spring of life and used the spring water as a material to refine medicines. The effects of the restorative medicines refined could often be greatly increased. The energy of this spirit spring of life was not considered strong in Chu Tian's eyes, but in a place like Tiannan City, it was a precious resource that would make all the major powers fight over it. Why is the water red? It's so creepy. Meng Yingying was fascinated by the dozens of medicinal herbs, so she did not pay much attention to the strange spring water. The blood-woven flood python has been entrenched in this cave for decades, and every time it is heavily injured, it uses the spring water to heal. In addition, every time it molts, it is also carried out in the spring. The spring water contains a large amount of the blood-woven flood python's blood essence. Meng Yingying found several sets of red python skin in the water. Chu Tian was right, that magical beast really did seem to be cultivating inside. Chu Tian began to take off his pants. Meng Yingying covered her eyes in fright. Damn rogue. What are you doing? Soaking in the hot spring. What kind of occasion is this? You're still soaking in the hot spring. This spring not only has healing properties, but it also contains enough flood dragon blood to effectively improve one's physique, cleanse the marrow, and enhance one's aptitude. With such a poor aptitude, you'll become better after a bath. Pay. Stop. You shameless thing, how can you take off your clothes in front of a girl? Don't you feel ashamed? Chu Tian seriously said, that's not right, humans are originally naked in this world. I'm just returning to my natural state, returning to my original state, what's there to be ashamed of? What kind of bullshit logic was that? Meng Yingying felt that she was about to explode from anger. Chu Tian continued to speak as he took off his clothes, your consciousness is not good. Your mind is filled with filthy and erotic people, so you feel ashamed. Look at me, such a pure young man. Even if you strip naked and stand in front of me, I won't even bat an eyelid. You can try if you don't believe me. Meng Yingying was furious. You're twisting words and forcing logic. What a scoundrel. You see, we've had a really difficult day. We finally have a good chance to relax. This spring is big enough. Why don't we soak in the hot spring together? We can rub each other's backs and massage each other. A pure and beautiful virgin is about to strip, why are you so worldly? Bah! In your dreams. I don't want to take advantage of a bad person like you. Meng Yingying was very tempted by the hot spring's ability to improve one's physique, but this guy's words were too vulgar. You're a virgin. I'm still a virgin. Besides, only a ghost would believe you. You're so bad that I don't know how many girls you've cheated. Quickly soak, I'll come back after you're done. The little girl blushed and ran away in a sorry state. Sigh, this girl can't let go, I still need to enlighten her. Chu Tian didn't care at all. He quickly took off his clothes and lay down in it, cool. That slightly stinging sensation spread throughout his entire body. The rich life energy in the spring was rapidly repairing his injuries, allowing his exhausted body to quickly recover. From an extremely exhausted state, he quickly recovered to his peak state. The entire process was incomparably comfortable. The flood dragon blood also penetrated into his body bit by bit and began to improve his physique. His body strength increased. His elemental energy strength increased. The effect was almost instantaneous. This body's talent was not high, but Chu Tian didn't care much. Talent was not static. It could be improved through various methods, such as this spring of life filled with flood dragon blood. After soaking for about an hour, his elemental energy was replenished, his physical strength was completely restored, and his strength reached the peak of the 4th level. Chu Tian's bones, meridians, and flesh were all strengthened by the flood dragon blood. It could be said that he had been reborn. Breakthrough. Another breakthrough. In a short 2 hours, Chu Tian had gained 2 significant improvements in a row. Any one of the elixirs here could increase his cultivation, easily reaching the 5th level of body refinement. At that time, wouldn't he be able to beat that bastard Yi Han like playing around? Yingying, it's your turn. Chu Tian didn't have much effect soaking anymore, so he called Meng Yingying in. Meng Yingying was a bit shy as she walked to the side of the spirit spring. She suddenly turned around and fiercely waved her little fist, saying in a threatening tone, "You listen to me, when I soak, if you dare peek, I'll dig out your eyes." A woman's heart was the most poisonous. Chu Tian helplessly left. When she saw Chu Tian resentfully leave, Meng Yingying felt a bit apologetic in her heart. Was her attitude a bit too fierce? She scratched her head in distress, but there was no other way. This guy was a typical example of a dye shop. If she didn't be fierce to him, he might really do something bad. Meng Yingying took off her clothes, and her attractive body slowly walked into the warm spring. This spring water was what Chu Tian had just soaked in. Thinking of this, her heart suddenly jumped up and down, like a little deer running around, a bit shy, a bit embarrassed, and also a bit excited. Annoying. How could I think of this kind of thing? Meng Yingying quickly eliminated the distracting thoughts in her head and began to relax her body, fully experiencing the process. That guy was usually serious, but the words he said were always reliable. The spring of life really had an incredible power. The flood dragon blood essence contained in it was definitely a good medicine to improve one's physique. The reason why the surrounding dozens of elixirs were precious was that they could improve one's cultivation. This spirit spring could directly improve one's physique. In a sense, the help of the spirit spring to Meng Yingying couldn't be compared to these elixirs added together. What's more, the spirit spring of life itself also had the effect of improving one's strength. Meng Yingying's strength was originally at the peak of the 4th level. When a large amount of flood dragon blood containing the essence of the power, under the effect of the spirit spring of life, poured into her body, cleansed her meridians, and strengthened her meridians, her strength smoothly broke through to the 5th level. Another breakthrough. It was like a dream. Meng Yingying was so excited that she was about to burst into tears. But at this moment, Meng Yingying suddenly felt that there was an icy cold thing in the water, swimming past her thigh. She was shocked and looked down, and her eyes suddenly widened. Wow! Help! There's a monster. Chu Tian immediately rushed in. What's the situation? In the dark cave, the light was not very bright. A beautiful and pretty girl stood up from the spring water. Her skin was delicate and creamy, her shoulders were soft and smooth like silk, and most of her full breasts were covered by her wet hair. However, one could faintly see the towering peaks and bottomless ravines. The two of them looked at each other. Ah! Rogue! The girl let out a scream of shame and indignation. 10 minutes later, Chu Tian came out carrying a red baby python. It was about 2 fingers thick and less than 2 meters long, but its whole head was smashed flat. The thing that Meng Yingying encountered in the spirit spring was a baby python. The culprit has been executed. How could you kill it? Probably because she had soaked in the spirit spring, Meng Yingying's skin became whiter and smoother. Her cheeks were still red, and her eyes were somewhat evasive. She muttered, "This is a very good baby demon beast. When it grows up, it will at least reach the 9th body refinement layer. Killing it is too much of a pity." Chu Tian's face was fierce as he said, not to mention a blood mosquito python, even if it was a real flood dragon, if it dared to peek at our Miss Yingying bathing, then it deserved to have its head smashed. But speaking of which, this guy has probably been soaking in the spring since it was born. Using it to make snake soup will definitely be very nourishing. Meng Yingying stared at him. Then my body was seen by you, but I didn't see you smash your own head. How can this be the same? I rushed in to save someone, my heart is pure, heaven and earth can be my witness. Besides, this is the first time I've seen a girl bathing in my life. Because of you, even my clean reputation was ruined. It's fine if you don't compensate for the loss of my reputation, but you can't make a false accusation. The little girl's eyes were filled with anger. So you're saying that the one who suffered a loss is you? It's fine, suffering a loss is a blessing, I'm already used to it. Chu Tian saw the little girl's angry expression and quickly changed his words. Don't be so excited, I didn't see your entire body, I only saw your upper body. Your body is not bad, keep up the good work. Wah! I'm so angry. I'll fight it out with you. Meng Yingying was like an angry cub as she fiercely threw herself at Chu Tian. She used her claws to fiercely scratch his face a few times. Chu Tian repeatedly begged for mercy. The two of them came to an agreement. Meng Yingying had a fierce expression as she threatened, what just happened, only you and I know. If you dare tell anyone, I'll fight it out with you. Chu Tian touched his handsome face that was scratched and sighed, my face is ruined. Meng Yingying covered her mouth and laughed. She proudly raised her head, it's good that you know how powerful I am. Let's see if you still dare to act like you're innocent next time. Alright, let's pick all the elixirs and hurry home. We've been missing for half a day, sister must be very worried. Chu Tian obediently went to pick the elixirs. Meng Yingying unconsciously puffed out her chest. She had always felt that being too big was a burden and often prayed in her heart that it would not continue to grow. But now it was different. She suddenly felt very proud and happy. Did Chu Tian like this type? But compared to sister, there was still a gap. Although the repeated encounters this time were very dangerous, the harvest was quite plentiful. These medicinal ingredients were worth tens of thousands of gold coins. It was a pity that they could not take away the black-winged wind wolf and blood-woven flood python's corpses. Otherwise, those materials would also be worth tens of thousands of gold coins. Chapter 27. Tiannan City. Several strange beast carriages were parked in front of the Meng family's gate. There was a luxurious beast carriage with a flag with a dragon eagle on it. Meng Yingying carefully stared at the dragon hawk flag for a while. This is the symbol of Central State Academy. Chu Tian curiously asked, what is Central State Academy? You don't even know this? What a country bumpkin. Meng Yingying did not let go of any chance to look down on Chu Tian. Central State Academy is the largest academy in Central State and the requirements for enrolling students are extremely harsh. Up until now, there are only 20,000 of them. Among them, there are many experts and their statuses are extremely respected. Students and guilds were very similar in some aspects. They were semi-official organizations established with the support of the kingdom. Every year, the treasury would allocate funds to support their development. Of course, it was impossible for the kingdom to give unconditionally. These organizations needed to create corresponding value. The major guilds created the value of academic research. For example, the Pharmacist Guild would research all kinds of potion recipes every year, and the Talisman Guild would invent all kinds of new talismans every year, etc., increasing the soft power of the kingdom. The various universities focused on the cultivation of martial arts talents. Every year, they would import a large number of geniuses into the kingdom's military and political system, especially to cultivate warriors with extraordinary strength, thereby increasing the kingdom's hard power. One was civil and the other was military. They complemented each other. A group of strange yet familiar faces came to the Meng family. Sixth aunt, fourth uncle, cousin-in-law, aunt, they were all relatives. Meng Yingying's return caught everyone's attention. It's Meng Yingying. I wonder what her cultivation level is. I haven't seen her for a few years. She's getting prettier and prettier. What's the use of being good-looking? He's just a piece of trash. He's just relying on his sister. Otherwise, how could he have his current status? You're right. If she didn't have Meng Qinggu to support her, would she still be able to live a dignified life? I'm afraid she would have been married off to someone else as a concubine. Exactly, exactly. Everyone was discussing in private. He didn't hide the mockery and disdain in his eyes. This group of relatives usually didn't interact with each other. Why were they all here now? Meng Yingying was full of doubts and decided to ask her sister. The atmosphere didn't seem right. Who cares? If it doesn't concern me, I'll just ignore it. Chu Tian changed his clothes and went to rest. His butt hadn't even warmed up yet. Dang! Dang! A series of clear bell chimes rang out. This was the signal to gather everyone. Is it time for dinner? Chu Tian hurriedly ran over. In the hall, there was a huge round table, and about 20 to 30 people were sitting there. All of them had serious expressions on their faces. Where did this slave come from? Stop! A middle-aged man with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks stopped Chu Tian. His triangular eyes shot out a look of disdain as he sized up Chu Tian's crude attire. In a sharp and ear-piercing voice, he said, "Is this a place that someone of your status can enter? Get lost." Chu Tian didn't get angry. He laughed and said, "Who do you think you are to have the right to stop me? You don't even know who I am, and you dare to come here to be a slave." The monkey-like middle-aged man flew into a rage. "I am a shareholder of Nanyun Commerce, the second uncle of Meng Qinggu. How dare a servant speak to me like this?" It was simply unforgivable. "Come. Slap yourself 100 times. The middle-aged man deliberately scolded the servant in front of Meng Qinggu. He didn't really want to make things difficult for Chu Tian. Most likely he wanted to give Meng Qinggu a show of strength. Unfortunately, this guy's luck wasn't too good. Pa! A resounding slap. This so-called second uncle was directly flipped over. Chu Tian was still smiling a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, he turned the tables and stepped on his second uncle. "Who the fuck do you think you are? Don't say a vulgar man like you. If Meng Qinggu dared to speak to me like this, I would have also spanked her on the spot. You actually hit me." The second uncle's face was swollen to the size of a steamed bun. He widened his eyes in horror and spat out several broken teeth. He hurriedly asked for help. "This dog slave is crazy. Big brother, save me." Chu Tian smiled embarrassedly. "There's something wrong with this arm of mine. It's born with a conditioned reflex. Whenever I meet a pretentious person like you, it's hard to suppress the arc of reflex arc. I'm really sorry." "Oh no, it's out of control again." "Pa!" Another slap. Chu Tian didn't show any mercy. The second uncle fainted. "How dare you!" A skinny middle-aged man with a mustache slammed the table and stood up. He looked angrily at Meng Qinggu. "Meng Qinggu, is this how you discipline your servants?" A young man dressed in white stood up. His handsome face had a trace of a smile. "Father, don't be angry. Cousin is a woman and she's in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. It's inevitable that she can't control some evil servants. It's better not to fuss over such a small matter." The middle-aged man snorted. "You only know how to speak up for her. Look at what the Chamber of Commerce has become. Cousin can't manage it well. We'll manage it on her behalf." The handsome young man dressed in white, Zhao Yi, cast a glance at Chu Tian and coldly said, "What are you guys still looking at? Immediately drag this evil servant away, break his legs, abolish his cultivation, and expel him from the Meng family. You guys also stop before going too far." Meng Qinggu shouted, "Who is the president here?" The Zhao father and son looked at each other in dismay. A relative sternly said, "Good, Meng Qinggu. Your family is being insulted, yet you're openly siding with an arrogant foreign servant. Acting so tyrannically, it's no wonder that Southern Cloud Commerce has fallen to such a state. Meng Qinggu lightly said, how I manage it is my own business. Chu Tian scratched his head, I'm sorry, did I come to the wrong place? Then I'll leave. Chu Tian, you've come to the right place. Come and sit here. Meng Qinggu glared at him. Can't you see that I'm in trouble? Not only did you not come to help me, but you also want to run away. You have no sense of loyalty. This person is the Chu Tian who caused a lot of trouble in Tiannan City. Everyone else revealed a strange expression. Chu Tian directly stepped over his second uncle and swaggered to a seat next to Meng Qinggu. He crossed his legs and listened to Meng Qinggu's introduction. The middle-aged man with a mustache was called Xiao Changhe, Meng Qinggu's big uncle. The handsome young man dressed in white was her big cousin. This man dressed in simple and crude clothes, dressed like a servant, was actually sitting together with Meng Qinggu. The eyes of the young man dressed in white, Zhao Yi, flashed a trace of jealousy and viciousness. Zhao Changhe took the initiative to speak first, Meng Qinggu, the entire Southern Cloud Commerce is under your control. What's the result? You stubbornly went ahead with the layout of the pharmaceutical industry, causing the commerce to suffer a huge setback and almost fall into a debt crisis. What Zhao Changhe said is right. 6 years ago, we invested in the crucial moment and protected the commerce from collapse. Is this how you repay us? You have betrayed everyone's trust, you have let us down. You must take responsibility for this. Southern Cloud Commerce's losses are all your fault. Meng Qinggu's eyebrows wrinkled. Nanyun Commerce's recent affairs, I will write a detailed report for you to look over, this matter is a bit complicated, don't say any more. We are not here to see you make excuses. The commerce has been defeated to this extent. I don't think it can continue. It's better to split up as soon as possible. Our demands are not high. You can split up the talisman workshop and let us split it evenly. These relatives and shareholders were clamoring to split up the commerce. The foundation of Southern Cloud Commerce was making talismans. They wanted Meng Qinggu to take out the talisman factory. This was practically digging out the lifeline of the commerce. Meng Qinggu's face became more and more unsightly. She suppressed her anger and coldly said, Mom and Dad just had an accident, and you used ridiculous excuses to ask for money. In order to maintain the overall situation, I had to admit that the money could not be verified and let it become the capital of Southern Cloud Commerce. In the past 6 years, have I given less than a copper coin to Southern Cloud Commerce's dividends? You did not pay a single penny, yet you are not satisfied. Now that the commerce is in a bit of turmoil, one by one you want to split up. Don't you feel a little ashamed? A sharp voice sounded, facts have proven that Meng Qinggu, you do not have the ability to manage the commerce. Another voice followed, that's right. In your hands, sooner or later, the commerce will go bankrupt. I propose to let Zhao Changhe be the president of Southern Cloud Commerce. Agreed. I also agree. We can't let her continue to be the president. We all have shares in the commerce. She lost our money. Everyone. Zhao Changhe hurriedly stood up and comforted everyone, don't be impatient. Although Meng Qinggu did not have any great achievements in the past 6 years, before this incident, she did not make any big mistakes. Does everyone agree with this? No achievements in itself is a mistake. Why should a mediocre person be the president? Zhao Changhe sighed, I can understand everyone's feelings. Southern Cloud Commerce has been struggling for so many years. Everyone has feelings for it and can't bear to see it decline day by day. But Southern Cloud Commerce was founded by Meng Qinggu's father. How can I, as her uncle, have the heart to replace it? Ridiculous. You also know that Southern Cloud Commerce was founded by my father. Meng Qinggu was not in a hurry to speak because she knew her uncle very well. She knew that behind these hypocritical polite words was the real intention. Zhao Changhe lightly said, a woman doing business without a backer will inevitably suffer losses. You are not young anymore. It is time to find someone to marry. Meng Qinggu coldly said, I have no such thoughts. Of course, Qingwu's appearance and talent are top-notch. Naturally, it will not be easy to marry an equally outstanding man. But uncle will make the decision for you. Zhao Chang he waved his hand, you marry Qingwu. Cough. Chu Tian was directly choked by this sentence. Zhao Yi's eyes flashed a hint of joy. Father, please rest assured, I will take care of my cousin for a lifetime. Meng Qingwu angrily stood up. Why? Because I am your uncle. Because is a student of Zhongzhou College. Isn't that enough? Zhao Chang he burst into a hearty laughter. Men and women should get married. Uncle, arranging a good marriage is also for your own good. The summit is about to begin. Southern Cloud Commerce does not even have a decent person. Can attend the summit for you. Meng Qingwu gloomily said, my sister is still young, I will not leave her. Zhao Chang he seemed to have guessed that Meng Qingwu would say this. Meng Yingying is also 16 years old. She can be Er's concubine. You two sisters will serve one husband, so there is no need to separate. You also know that she has no ability. This arrangement is also good for her. Sisters will marry big cousin together. What the fuck is this? Chu Tian could not listen anymore. Damn. You guys are making me sick. Chapter 28. First, uncle tried every possible way to embezzle his niece's property, but now he even forced his two nieces to marry his own son. What kind of brain circuit did he come up with this kind of strange idea? This cousin is not simple either. He married both of his cousins at the same time and still acted so at ease. I didn't think there would be someone more shameless than me in this world. Shut up. What qualifications do you have to interfere with our family's private affairs? Zhao Yi coveted his two beautiful cousins and wanted to use the Chamber of Commerce's troubles to force them to marry him. Who knew he would encounter Chu Tian, a thorn in his side? You are just a waste who lives by relying on your master's whims. Chu Tian smiled awkwardly. Let's not talk about anything else. At least I know shame, unlike some animals in human clothing. Zhao Yi's eyes flashed a hint of killing intent. Once a slave, always a slave. Even if I wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as crushing an ant. Do you really think that relying on my cousin's kindness, you can really be lawless? Chu Tian narrowed his eyes. His eyes flashed with a sharp light. Those who are familiar with Chu Tian will know that when Chu Tian shows this expression, he is often at his most dangerous. Meng Qingwu's patience reached its limit. Zhao Yi, you've gone too far. Zhao Chang has said to his son, why do you have to argue with a servant? Don't you think it's beneath your status? Sit down and talk business. No need to talk anymore. Meng Qingwu said in a very firm tone. I will never agree to this absurd thing. Today's meeting is over. Please go back. Zhao Chang's attitude became tough. For the development of Nanyun Chamber of Commerce, and more importantly for your sister's future, is your best choice. We are not here to discuss with you. Your opposition is useless. Zhao Changhe is right. Nanyun Chamber of Commerce's recent performance has disappointed us. Reunite with the Zhao family, or hand over the Chamber of Commerce. Meng Qingwu clenched her fists. The anger on her face had accumulated to the extreme. Zhao Changhe turned a blind eye to it and said in an irresistible tone, prepare well. This matter must be done as soon as possible. Thank you, father. Zhao Yi couldn't help but say, I will make the wedding beautiful and let Qingwu marry in a glorious way. No one here respected Meng Qingwu's opinion. From the beginning to the end, there was no room for discussion. You don't agree? Alright, let's all withdraw our investment together. You can just call out the Talisman Workshop. Who doesn't know that this Talisman Workshop is the lifeblood of Nanyun commerce? Who doesn't know that you, Meng Qingwu, value your parents' business? Meng Qingwu was so angry that tears welled up in her eyes. She was on the verge of breaking down. Fortunately, she didn't ask her younger sister to come. Otherwise, with her younger sister's personality, she would have long lost control. She looked at Chu Tian with a pleading gaze. She couldn't handle the current situation. This guy had a lot of bad ideas. Could he help solve this problem? Chu Tian got the authorization from her eyes. In that case, he won't be polite. Chu Tian directly stood up and roared, "All of you, get out of here." Hiss. Meng Qinggu was stunned. Everyone was like a duck being strangled by the neck. In an instant, they were all silent. A servant who didn't know anything dared to use this kind of tone to talk to them. A relative angrily stood up. "You," Chu Tian violently slapped him. The relative didn't even have time to speak. His entire jaw was dislocated. He screamed and fell to the ground. Chu Tian followed up with another kick, sending him flying a few meters away. Hitting people. How dare he hit people? Due to the loss of the pharmaceutical market, Nanyun commerce fell into a debt crisis. These people took advantage of the fact that Nanyun commerce could not come up with the money, so they came to force an abdication. Chu Tian moved his palms. "Don't these bastards want a talisman workshop? You just give it to them. In short, make this bunch of trash scram. Bold evil slave, you dare to provoke the relationship between the surface and the family, creating conflict and division within the family. You simply deserve to die." Zhao Yi stood up without thinking. "Father, I will cripple him." Zhao Cheng he did not stop him. He felt it was necessary to give Meng Qinggu a taste of his power. He coldly said, "Cripple. Why keep this kind of person? Kill him." Meng Qinggu anxiously said, "Don't you dare. Cousin, you are really muddle-headed. I am infatuated with you, but you don't know how to cherish it. This fierce slave has done many evil deeds, but you protect him in every possible way. If this guy stays in the family, sooner or later he will be a scourge. For you, for the family, today I must kill him. Die, you thief." Zhao Yi raised his right leg high. His magic power condensed into a sharp and heavy force. Like a huge axe, he fiercely chopped towards Chu Tian's head. This all-out attack could be said to be a real killing intent. If Chu Tian was hit directly, he would almost certainly die. Weak. Chu Tian raised his right arm and punched, soaring fist. His right fist shot out like a rocket. The two forces collided violently, setting off a gust of wind in the hall. Only the sound of bones breaking could be heard, followed by a shrill scream. Ah dash! Zhao Yi landed heavily on the ground. His right leg was twisted in a weird way. The bones in his leg had been shattered by a single punch. My leg. Just a mere 5th rank of body refinement, yet you're acting like you're invincible. Chu Tian not only had an advantage in skills and martial arts, but also because he had soaked in the spirit spring and tempered his body with flood dragon blood, his body strength had been greatly improved. Although his cultivation level was slightly lower, how could this kind of embroidered pillow compare to him? A 16 or 17-year-old youth had broken the legs of a Central State Academy student with a single punch? The relatives all revealed looks of terror. Who was the real trash here? If Central State Academy is filled with trash like you, then it would be better for it to close down earlier. Chu Tian lifted Zhao Yi into the air and slapped him 5 or 6 times. Blood splattered and broken teeth littered the ground. Didn't you want to kill me? I'll cripple you first. Zhao Yi was even more horrified. Stop! Zhao Cheng he was even more enraged. Bastard, how dare you! Chu Tian's palm landed on Zhao Yi's abdomen. Zhao Yi's magic power completely dissipated. Once his magic power dissipated, his cultivation became empty. From then on, he became an ordinary person. Zhao Yi was crippled. He was so ruthless and decisive, crippling him just like that, showing no mercy. Meng Qinggu did not think of this. No one could have thought of this. Although the Zhao family was not a famous family, they still had a bit of influence in the main city of the central province. Although Zhao Yi was a collateral descendant, Chu Tian had directly crippled him. If this news spread back to the central province, it would definitely anger the entire Zhao family. Nanyun Commerce wanted to completely break off relations with the Zhao family. You dare cripple my son? Zhao Changhe was shocked and angry. His two fists suddenly came forward. I will kill you. Chu Tian sneered. You? Get lost. One kick. Only one kick. Zhao Changhe fell a few feet away. Zhao Changhe's cultivation was slightly higher than Zhao Yi's, but he was only at the peak of the 5th stage. As long as he did not reach the 6th stage, Chu Tian did not put him in his eyes. Chu Tian arrogantly glanced at the crowd. Everyone felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. It was as if standing in front of them was not a teenager, but a terrifying demon king whose hands were stained with blood. Aren't you all very arrogant? Don't you all want to kill me? I'm here seeking death. Why don't you grant me death? Grant me death? How could he say such words? This guy was really frivolous. Everyone was completely stunned. This teenager was so terrifying. Meng Qingwu's delicate body trembled. She did not know whether she was happy or sad. What Chu Tian did was something she did not want to do, but she wanted to do it. The Zhao family was her mother's family. She did not want to completely break with the Zhao family, but Zhao Changhe really went too far. When she looked at Chu Tian's domineering figure, when she looked at Chu Tian's frivolous side profile, her eyes showed a trace of confusion, but it was immediately replaced by unprecedented firmness. Chu Tian. Thank you. Meng Qingwu shed a crystal tear. Zhao Changhe's face was pale, and his voice was full of tears as he scolded, Meng Qingwu, you heartless and unscrupulous thing. I followed your parents to establish Nanyun Commerce, and made great contributions to it. Now that your wings have grown, you actually treat us like this. You are a heartless, unjust, unfilial, and disloyal animal. Heartless, unjust, unfilial, and disloyal. Meng Qingwu smiled sadly. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of anger. Since it had come to this, she would completely shed all pretense of cordiality. I have a few questions that I want to ask you. Zhao Changhe was stunned. Meng Qingwu asked in an almost cold tone, 6 years ago, when my parents' caravan was transporting a batch of extremely confidential goods, the route of the caravan was not known to outsiders, but they were killed halfway. The whole caravan was wiped out. How did you survive? Zhao Changhe roared hoarsely, don't try to mislead others. It was a magical beast attack. Magical beast attack. That's the story you brought back, and it was because of your testimony that people finally believed it. But what is the truth? You know it better than anyone. You betrayed my parents, you sold the route information to the Ye family, right? What? Zhao Changhe was shocked. She already knew it. In other words, Meng Qingwu may have suspected him from the beginning, but he did not expect that she had been hiding it for so many years. This woman was so scheming. Meng Qingwu had always been suspicious, but there was no evidence. Now seeing Zhao Changhe's reaction, she could almost conclude that her guess was not wrong at all. Since then, Nanyun Chamber of Commerce has been in constant turmoil. Talisman makers jumped ship, material merchants made things difficult, shops were harassed, factories were destroyed. At this time, you brought a group of people to divide the family property, demanded shares of the Chamber of Commerce, and tried to completely crush Nanyun Chamber of Commerce. Is this your so-called benevolence, righteousness, loyalty, and filial piety? Zhao Changhe, you don't deserve it. Zhao Changhe's face turned green and white, you dare to frame me. This is the contract of the Talisman Workshop, I can give it to you. Only one condition, from now on, we have no relationship. Meng Qingwu threw a contract on the ground. A relative quickly picked it up to check. Good. Meng Qinggu. Just you wait. Let's go. Meng Qinggu was really willing to hand over the talisman workshop. The talisman business was the foundation of Nanyun Chamber of Commerce. But since it was like this, since they had completely fallen out, it was better to reduce it. These people were all profit-oriented people. They didn't care about the so-called family ties. Zhao Changhe was unreliable, so it was better to take the existing benefits and quickly dissolve the family. Chu Tian shouted, "Wait!" Everyone looked at each other, their eyes revealed a trace of fear. Chu Tian revealed a fiendish grin. "Could it be that you don't understand human language? I told you to get out, listen carefully, get out. You're going too far." Everyone's face was ashen. When you insult others, why don't you feel like you're going too far? Chu Tian coldly said, "I'll count to 3, whoever doesn't get out, I'll make sure they never stand up again. 1. 2. I'll get out. We'll get out." Including Zhao Changhe and his son, everyone was scared to the ground and began to roll out of the door. Chu Tian was too scary, he didn't even blink when he crippled Zhao Yi. Now that he could say such words, then he must be able to do it. Meng Qinggu looked at the domineering group of people, but now obediently rolled out of the hall like dogs. Her heart suddenly surged, and at the same time, she was filled with emotion. "I almost have nothing left." Chu Tian faintly smiled. "What are you afraid of? I'm enough." Meng Qinggu heard these somewhat ambiguous words, her nose turned sour, and quickly turned away. Chapter 29. Chu Tian went back and busied himself. He boiled a large pot of soup for the young python. Chu Tian drank several large bowls. The python meat and soup contained rich energy, immediately strengthening his physique, almost breaking through to the 5th rank of body refinement. Of course, he had already grown twice in one day, so it would not be so easy to increase his strength again. Chu Tian was not in a hurry. This cultivation was about gradual progress, and now was not the time to break through. Chu Tian did well. Chu Tian carried the soup pot to the living room. Meng Yingying beamed with joy, giving him a thumbs up. "I really did not misjudge you." Chu Tian brought the soup pot to the 2 young ladies. Meng Yingying was angry, her small fist angrily pounded the table, her cheeks puffed up, she stood up and fiercely said, "Humph, I didn't know. If I knew those guys dared to bully sister like this, I, Meng Yingying, would cut them into 18 pieces on the spot." "Many thanks for Miss Yingying's advice. Next time I will cut them into 18 pieces." Chu Tian said as he took out a bowl. "Stop gesticulating, you must be hungry, eat something." Meng Yingying playfully stuck out her tongue. A talisman workshop was lost. Looking at sister's sad and depressed appearance, was it worth it? With Chu Tian here, no matter how big the difficulty, he could still pass. Meng Yingying came over and sniffed. "What is this? It smells so good." Blood-woven flood python soup. Not only can it strengthen the physique, but it can also enhance the breast and promote the growth of the body. "TCH, I don't need this kind of thing." Meng Yingying said this, but she took the largest bowl first. What a strong effect. Meng Qing drank 2 mouthfuls and felt her body heat up, her beautiful cheeks flushed red, she could not help but be surprised. "Is it really the blood-woven flood python? How did you get this thing?" Meng Yingying told the story to her sister. "This is too thrilling." Meng Qinggu felt a deep lingering fear. "You two are too careful. If you go out in the future, you must bring enough guards with you." What was the use of guards? The guards of those families were not even as good as Chu Tian. Nanyun commerce only exists in name. I am preparing to completely dissolve the commerce, exchange all the real estate for cash, and invest all of it into the soon-to-be officially launched Miracle Commerce. Meng Qinggu hesitated for a long time before speaking her mind. "Chu Tian, what do you think?" Chu Tian said noncommittally, "Are you willing to dissolve the Chamber of Commerce just like that?" There was a trace of sadness in Meng Qingwu's eyes. She sighed softly and said, "What can I do even if I'm unwilling?" The medicine market had completely failed, and the talisman workshop had also been lost. All that was left were miscellaneous assets, which were simply unable to support the operation of the Chamber of Commerce. If this goes on, we won't be able to pay the salaries of more than 1,000 employees. If we sell the Chamber of Commerce now and repay the debt, we will still have 40 to 50,000 gold coins left. Meng Yingying's heart was also very sad. She was clearer than anyone else about her sister's feelings for Nanyun Commerce. This was not only the position that she had held for 6 years, but also the only inheritance that her parents had left for her sister. Chu Tian's words were shocking. There is no need to dissolve. In less than a year or two, Nanyun will grow into a colossus that will shake the entire kingdom. Meng Qingwu's whole body trembled. What did you say? Chu Tian explained, you have to understand the position of Miracle Commerce. We are not a chamber of commerce that focuses on a single field, but a comprehensive large group. No matter how bad Nanyun Commerce is, at least we have a certain foundation. I am prepared to keep Nanyun Commerce as a chamber of commerce under the Miracle Group, responsible for the Miracle Group's talisman and medicine business. That's right, Chu Tian is very knowledgeable about talismans and is also very good at alchemy. Meng Yingying stood up and excitedly said to her sister, if Nanyun Commerce joins the Miracle Group's giant ship, it will go further and more steadily than before. Sister, we did not lose. You can still continue to lead Nanyun Commerce. Really? She felt like she was dreaming. Nanyun Commerce's talisman and medicine business will not change. From now on, it will join Miracle Commerce as a subsidiary chamber of commerce. Meng Qingwu did not know much about Chu Tian's ability in talisman and medicine refining. At the very least, the Talisman Masters Guild President Zhang Liqing and the Alchemist Guild's Executive Elder Xiong Yan all follow Chu Tian's lead. Nanyun Commerce could still be saved. Chu Tian proudly said, Nanyun Commerce in the field of talisman and medicine refining will definitely dominate the entire kingdom, even the entire continent. Although the road is long, we will definitely reach it. This kind of frightening boasting made Meng Qingwu unable to help but roll her eyes at him. Not to mention dominating the kingdom, as long as they can rule Tiannan City, that is already very amazing. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Not to mention the entire continent, our small kingdom, even in the small central state, there are still giants that we can't shake. Meng Qingwu paused and then said, the most important thing now is to officially start Miracle Commerce. It would be best if we can attract people's attention and create a sensation in Tiannan City. Chu Tian did not even think and said, it has already been planned. I will announce the establishment of the Chamber of Commerce at the summit. Tiannan City's summit is a gathering of the military, government, and business. It is indeed a very good opportunity. From the strength that Chu Tian has shown, if he participates in the genius competition, he should be able to get a good ranking. At that time, it would be a good opportunity. Young miss. Young miss. Not good, there's a theft in the house. A housekeeper hurriedly ran over. What happened? Who would come here to steal things? Meng Qingwu's eyebrows slightly wrinkled. What did you lose? The housekeeper's forehead was filled with sweat. It's not clear at the moment, but the thieves seemed to be near the second young miss room. When we found them, they had already escaped. Strange, there's nothing valuable in my room. Meng Yingying was confused. Suddenly, her eyes widened. Could it be? Not good. Pa! The small bowl fell to the ground and shattered. The soup was scattered all over the floor. Meng Yingying's face became as white as paper. Without a word, she quickly stood up and ran to her room. What happened? Meng Qingwu and Chu Tian looked at each other and followed. Meng Yingying's room was turned upside down. Her heart skipped a beat and she quickly ran to the bed. She opened a secret compartment under her pillow and saw a normal small box in the secret compartment. No. No. Please don't. Anything is fine. This thing cannot be lost. A pair of trembling little hands opened the box. The inside of the box was empty, there was nothing inside. At this moment, Meng Yingying felt her heart being hollowed out. Meng Yingying felt the world spinning around her. In an instant, it was as if the world was collapsing. With a putong sound, she fell to the ground. Her little face was ashen. Ah! Yingying! Meng Qinggu rushed in to pick up her little sister. Meng Yingying seemed like she had suffered a heavy blow. Her face was pale and cold sweat was pouring out. She mumbled to herself and her mind was in a trance. What's wrong with you? Meng Yingying seemed like she had lost her soul. No matter how she called out, she wouldn't respond. Meng Qinggu panicked, don't scare me. What happened? Meng Yingying came back to her senses as her tears flowed down, the contract. The contract was stolen. They stole the contract. Contract, what contract? Could it be? Meng Qingwu's body trembled as she looked at Chu Tian beside her in shock. Meng Yingying cried out, Chu Tian's contract. Chu Tian's face changed, fuck. It can't be. Chu Tian, I've let you down. Meng Yingying was very anxious. She cried as she said, I wanted to return the contract to you a long time ago, but I never thought that something like this would happen. Chu Tian's slave contract was stolen. The slave contract sealed the slave's spirit. The slave master had the slave contract and could kill the slave at any time. It was through this method that the slave master could firmly control the slave. Chu Tian's slave contract was stolen. This meant that Chu Tian's life was in the hands of others. With the contract, they could threaten Chu Tian to do anything. If Chu Tian dared to disobey, they could kill him at any time. Meng Yingying had made a huge mistake. At this moment, it was too late for regrets. I don't have the ability and I'm not smart. I was afraid that you would leave me. I hid the contract because of my selfishness. But I really never thought of using it to deal with you. I really never thought of it. If I knew it would be like this, I would definitely return it to you. Meng Qinggu was also burning with anxiety. This was a life-threatening matter. Meng Qinggu also blamed her, but how could you hide such an important thing in a room without any protection? Meng Yingying felt extremely guilty. Just a moment ago, she was filled with happiness and ambition, but in this moment, all her hopes were shattered, all her hopes turned into bubbles. Such a huge difference was like falling from heaven to hell. Meng Yingying kept the contract because she wanted to keep Chu Tian. But she never thought that because of her selfishness, not only would she lose Chu Tian, but Chu Tian would also be in danger. Chu Tian had done so much for me. Chu Tian had done so much to save the whole family. What have I done? Meng Qinggu looked at her sister who was filled with regret and tears. She felt very sad. Since young, she had never seen her sister so sad except for the time when her parents died. The thief is most likely one of those relatives. I think the Ye family had investigated Chu Tian and found out that Chu Tian was extraordinary. They secretly planned to bribe these people to steal the contract. Meng Qinggu clenched her fists. Her eyes flashed with anger. I am also responsible for this. Quickly gather everyone and chase the thief back. Chase. Would they be able to catch up? Meng Yingying's eyes flashed with a trace of determination. She suddenly stood up and ran out. I'll go get it back. Meng Qinggu was afraid that her sister would do something stupid. She quickly pulled her back. Yingying, what are you going to do? Meng Yingying said with a determined face, this must have been ordered by the Ye family. I'll go to the Ye family and beg them to return the contract to me. I'll do anything they want me to do. As long as they return it to me. Meng Qinggu gave a bitter smile. Silly sister, they stole the contract to control Chu Tian forever. They want Chu Tian to serve them forever. The mistake has already been made and it's too late to do anything now. Don't pull me. Meng Yingying forcefully broke free from her sister and rushed out the door. I can't let Chu Tian fall into the hands of the bad guys. I must try. A figure blocked in front of her. Two warm palms held her shoulders. Calm down. Meng Yingying's heart was filled with guilt. She didn't dare look at Chu Tian. It was she who dragged Chu Tian down. It was she who harmed him. Chu Tian had always been good to her. Not only did he help her many times, he also saved her life. But how did she repay him? Meng Yingying recalled that sometimes she was fierce to Chu Tian. Now she caused Chu Tian to lose his life and freedom. She couldn't forgive herself. She must make it up to him no matter what price she had to pay. Meng Yingying rubbed her eyes and pitifully asked, "Do you hate me?" "Silly girl, it's not a big deal. Don't look like you're dying. It's like the sky is falling." Chu Tian wiped away Meng Yingying's tears. He patted her thin shoulders and helped her walk back. "Don't cry. Go wash up and sleep." "Bastard. What time is this? This time it's about your life." Chu Tian snorted, "Don't worry about this bullshit contract. I've never put it in my eyes. Otherwise, do you think I would wait for them to steal it? I would have done it myself." "What?" Meng Yingying and Meng Qinggu both had a look of disbelief on their faces. In this era, the spiritual contract was something that couldn't be broken. Once a slave signed a spiritual contract, it meant that their life and death would forever be in the hands of others. No one had ever heard of breaking a spiritual contract. Chu Tian had 100 ways to break it. The most convenient way was to reach the awakened soul realm. As long as he reached the awakened soul realm, Chu Tian wouldn't need any external help to repair his spirit. Now that the contract had been stolen, he could only think of another way. Using a beast spirit to extract spiritual substance could temporarily make up for the lack of spirit. This beast spirit was a very precious material. It could only be bred in a beast core that surpassed level 2. Because the beast spirit's storage time was very short, it was very difficult to buy a beast spirit on the market. Especially in a small city like South Sky City. Chu Tian's luck was not bad. Wouldn't the blood-woven flood python's beast spirit come in handy? The contract should not have been delivered to the Ye family yet, so Chu Tian had to hurry. "I have a secret technique that can temporarily repair my spirit. Give me a quiet room. Hurry, if the contract is delivered, I'm afraid it will be too late." Chu Tian walked into a room and took out the blood-red beast core from his chest. There was no other way. He would use it. The blood-woven flood python was a level 2 demon beast. Chu Tian didn't have the ability to directly refine pills, but he could strip the beast spirit from within and swallow it. As long as he swallowed the blood-woven flood python's beast spirit, Chu Tian would be able to borrow its spirit and soul power to repair the part of his spirit that had been cut off, creating a complete spirit soul. The slave contract would also be useless. Chu Tian drew a source energy array and placed the beast core in the middle. He suddenly activated the source energy array and a translucent shadow was dragged out from the beast core. Chu Tian directly swallowed the beast spirit into his body. "Let's begin." Chu Tian began to refine the beast spirit. Chapter 30. Guilt, regret, sadness, annoyance, apprehension. Meng Yingying did not sleep the entire night. Like a loyal guard, she stood guard in front of Chu Tian's door. She did not take a step away, nor did she rest for even a second. "Yingying, the sky is about to brighten." Meng Qinggu took out a cloak and draped it over her little sister. Her eyes were filled with love and heartache. "You guarding him is not a solution. Go rest, I'll help you look after him. There won't be any accidents." This matter was a big blow to Meng Yingying. It made her lose her usual lively appearance, like a frosted eggplant. Meng Yingying's face was haggard as she said, "No need, I know I don't have any skills. Even if the bad guys come, I won't be able to stop them." But if I do this, at least my heart will feel a bit better. Just let me stay here. Okay, then I'll accompany you. When she saw her little sister's appearance, her heart slightly sighed. Perhaps this little girl's heart was also about to be stolen by that fellow. The sky gradually brightened. At this time, there was a clamor outside the door. I am the Ye family's deacon. You scoundrels dare to stop me? Scram for me. Several guards cried out pitifully. The Meng Qinggu sisters were shocked. A 30-year-old youth had knocked several guards to the ground. He was arrogantly stepping on a guard's face. Seeing the Meng Qinggu sisters come out, he immediately said in a clear voice, "The Meng family's sisters are beautiful enough to cause the downfall of a city. Seeing them today, it is indeed true. However, you don't have many good days ahead of you." Meng Qinggu clenched her fists. What do you mean? The Ye family's deacon unscrupulously looked at the two girls. In the future, even if you don't become a slave prostitute, you won't be able to escape the fate of being ravaged and tortured. What a pity, what a pity. Meng Yingying angrily rebuked, "Scram." Meng Qinggu hurriedly pulled back her enraged younger sister and asked with a frown, "Did you injure my guards for no reason just to tell me this?" The deacon of the Ye family laughed. "All right, stop pretending. Let that lowly slave Chu Tian come out himself." Meng Yingying shouted angrily, "What do you want?" The Ye family deacon said in a ruminating tone, "Our family's eldest young master said that Chu Tian dared to offend him, but he didn't expect that his life would be in the hands of the eldest young master. If he wanted to live, there was only one choice. He will kneel every 3 steps and bow every 5 steps. He will carry a thorn to the Yi mansion to beg for forgiveness and receive punishment. Eldest young master said that if his performance is satisfactory, then he will only need his 2 legs and can be spared. Kneel every 3 steps. A bow every 5 steps. Not only did he pay for his sins, but he also wanted to amputate his legs." Meng Yingying clenched her jade teeth and said, "You guys are so vicious, aren't you afraid of the wrath of the heavens?" Vicious? The deacon of the Ye family laughed again, "No, no, no. The eldest young master is kind-hearted. Even though he is only a slave, he can't bear to see him crippled for the rest of his life. He gave this lowly slave a chance to save his legs, and this chance is in the hands of you 2 sisters." Meng Yingying heard this and asked, "What do you want?" The deacon of the Ye family said with a face full of ridicule, "Simple, each of you will exchange one of his legs. The eldest young master wants you 2 to follow Chu Tian and bow in front of the Ye family's door to apologize. From then on, you 2 will become the private prostitutes of the Ye family, for our Ye family to enjoy." Bastard! Meng Yingying's face turned red, "You're going too far." The deacon of the Ye family coldly said, "Chu Tian is just a lowly slave, yet he caused our young master to be seriously injured and caused our eldest young master to be humiliated. The ones who are going too far are you 2. Remember, whether he becomes a cripple for the rest of his life is up to you 2. He is the benefactor of your Meng family. Now that he is in trouble, it's time to see how you 2 sisters will perform. Each of them exchange one of his legs." If Meng Qinggu and her sister were to enter the Ye family, then they would definitely be consigned to eternal damnation. The deacon of the Ye family saw the ashen faces of the 2 sisters and knew that his mission was complete. He felt incomparably happy and laughed towards the sky. "I have conveyed the message, so I will take my leave. Before tonight, the eldest young master wants to see the action." Just as the deacon of the Ye family was about to leave, he heard a lazy and flat voice from afar. "I was wondering why there was a dog barking so early in the morning." So it was the dog of the Ye family who accidentally came in. "However, you can come and go as you please. Do you think this is a public toilet?" Chu Tian had changed into a clean set of clothes. His eyes were bright and full of expression, and he seemed to be in high spirits. The aura surrounding his body seemed to be stronger than yesterday. "Chu Tian, you really dare to come out? I admire you. Even in the face of death, you still dare to be so arrogant." The deacon of the Ye family was fearless. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and arrogantly said, "You should have heard my words clearly. The first is to die, the second is to obey. Choose for yourself." "Can I choose the third?" "Apart from these two results, I can't think of a third. The third is to first step on you, then step on Yi Han, then step on Yi Xiong, then step on the Ye family of Tiannan City, and finally step on the entire Ye family of Zhongzhou." "You, what arrogant words! It would cause a big earthquake." The deacon of the Ye family turned pale with fright. Before he could open his mouth, Chu Tian had already rushed over. The deacon of the Ye family was at the peak of the 5th rank of body refinement, but he didn't even have the strength to fight back. Ka. Two sounds of bones breaking rang out. Both legs were broken on the spot. The deacon of the Ye family screamed, his face full of disbelief. How could Chu Tian make a move? His life was in the hands of the Ye family. The deacon of the Ye family was scared. He trembled and said, If you dare kill me, young master won't let you go. I don't plan on killing you. You just need to bring back a message for me. Tell that bastard Yi to take advantage of these few days to enjoy his life. Otherwise, there won't be a chance in the future." The deacon of the Ye family's face darkened. "Okay, I'll help you bring back this message." Chu Tian suddenly revealed an evil smile. "The Ye family wants me to kneel every 3 steps, kowtow every 5 steps, and carry a thorn to ask for forgiveness? This is really a creative idea. As the saying goes, courtesy demands reciprocity. Shouldn't I show a little something?" The deacon of the Ye family saw Chu Tian's smile and suddenly felt a chill. "What do you want to do?" Chu Tian giggled and said, "I don't like trouble. Why don't I take off all your clothes, break all your arms and legs, and let you crawl back to the Ye family naked? This way, the people of Tiannan City can take a good look at what the tortoises of the Ye family are like." "You dare?" "No. Stop." Chu Tian very quickly removed the arms of the deacon of the Ye family. Meng Qingguo and Meng Yingying fiercely spat on the ground. Only Chu Tian would do such a sinister method. They quickly turned their heads away. Chu Tian quickly and efficiently took off all the clothes of the deacon of the Ye family and then threw him on the street. A naked man crawling on the street, and this person was the deacon of the Ye family, caused the passers-by to cry out in alarm. The Ye family originally wanted to humiliate him, but instead they were fiercely humiliated by Chu Tian. This matter would definitely become the top news in Tiannan City. "Don't worry." Chu Tian turned his head and explained to the two, "I have refined the energy of the beast spirit, and now my cultivation has risen to the 5th body refinement rank. At the same time, I have temporarily restored my spirit. This method is only temporary, and can only last for 2 months." Meng Yingying had just breathed a sigh of relief when she hurriedly asked, "Then what about after 2 months? Do you have a way?" Chu Tian nodded his head. "There is no way, unless I cultivate to the awakened soul realm. If I have the awakened soul realm cultivation, restoring my spirit is as easy as turning my hand." 2 months? Awakened soul realm. What kind of joke was this? There were not many awakened soul cultivators in Tiannan City. Becoming an awakened soul cultivator in 2 months, this possibility was almost zero. Meng Yingying lowered her head like a child who had done something wrong. If it wasn't for her, Chu Tian would not have had this much trouble. "Yingying, don't feel guilty, this matter is not your fault." Chu Tian walked in front of Meng Yingying. "You bought me from the slave market, this is a great kindness in itself. Otherwise, if I had fallen into other people's hands, I'm afraid I wouldn't even have this kind of opportunity. Let's just let the contract go. Let's take this opportunity to restore our equal relationship, isn't that good?" Meng Yingying felt her heart ache, almost crying. Her heart was very touched, but she fiercely glared at him. "You scoundrel, if you don't have any restraints, I'm afraid you will bully me even more." Chu Tian revealed a frightened expression. "With the young miss here, how would I dare?" Meng Qinggu fiercely glared at him. This guy still had the nerve to say this. The bullying she received was not lighter than anyone else. Meng Yingying revealed a complex expression. Can you really become an awakened soul cultivator in 2 months? You don't have confidence in me? No, that's not it. I believe you can do it. Only after I become an awakened soul cultivator, the gap between us will become bigger and bigger. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep up with your footsteps. Don't worry, we'll become stronger together. Chu Tian rubbed Meng Yingying's head. Is that pill furnace still there? Meng Yingying unhappily said, You're not allowed to touch my head, I'm not a child. Of course it's still there, that thing looks tattered and worthless, who would want to steal it? Chu Tian let out a sigh of relief. The seriousness and danger of a stolen pill furnace far surpasses the theft of a contract by 10 to 100 times. Remember, that array absolutely cannot see the light of day. Take out the pill furnace now, I want to use the beast cores to refine some pills. Meng Yingying suddenly became interested. You want to refine pills again? What pills? This time everyone will have a share. As for what pill it is, it's a secret for now. Chu Tian deliberately kept her in suspense. There are still a few days until the summit. I want to use these few days to increase my strength a bit, this way I'll be more confident. These grandsons want to use dirty tricks to control me. Then don't blame me for being ruthless. Chu Tian had always been clear about gratitude and grudges. A drop of kindness, naturally he would repay it with a fountain, and a grudge, he would also take revenge. What's more, this time the Ye family had gone too far. First there was Han Song's assassination. Then there was the theft of the contract. If any of these succeeded, Chu Tian would die without a doubt, and the Meng Qinggu sisters would also be finished. In the next few days, Chu Tian had Xiong Yan, Zhang Liqing, and Nan Gongyun take turns keeping watch, to prevent the Ye family from causing trouble again. Chu Tian, on the other hand, mysteriously closed his door and did not come out. He and Meng Yingying, using the beast cores of the black-winged wind wolf and the dozen or so precious elixirs that they brought back, began to refine medicine in large quantities. Everything was waiting for the summit to arrive. A few days later, inside the mayor's residence, Nan Gongyi flew into a rage, smashing the teacup on the ground, and roared angrily, Yun'er is really getting more and more outrageous. Nan Gongyi felt a bellyful of anger when he thought of his daughter. His daughter was outstanding, but unruly and willful, she could not change at all. That day when she failed to extort Nan Gongyi, she actually secretly sold a few of Nan Gongyi's treasures, raising about tens of thousands of gold coins. Then she still hadn't returned home, no one knew what she was doing. A few days ago, there was news that she had beaten up Yihan on the street. When Nan Gongyi learned of the situation, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What kind of person was Yihan? He was the young master of Tiannan City's Ye family, someone who had just returned from Central State. The Ye family was the local tyrant of Central State. Nan Gongyi rarely dared to touch their reverse scale, but because of his daughter, he had offended the Ye family. Mayor, the young miss has returned. What did you say? She still dares to come back. Nan Gongyi was seething with anger. Pay! Why wouldn't I dare to come back? Nan Gongyun casually walked in. Dad, why is your face so red, are you sick? Nan Gongyi flew into a rage. Even if I'm not sick, I'm still sick from being angered by you. Can you not give me any more trouble? There's nothing to say. I've already registered you to go to Central State Academy, after the new year. Nan Gongyun angrily said, Who told you to register me? What bullshit academy? I'm not going. Nan Gongyi snorted, If I let you run amok in Tiannan City, then my position as mayor will come to an end. Central State Academy is a good place. With your current cultivation and talent, you can directly enter the inner courtyard. Only that kind of place can control you. I'm not running amok. Nan Gongyun loudly defended herself, I'm doing great things. Why do you always look down on me? How am I, Nan Gongyun, inferior to others? Why can't I make a name for myself? Nangong-yi was so angry he couldn't speak. You. Tell me, what did you do? Our boss said that before it is officially announced, everything is confidential and absolutely cannot be leaked. Nangong-yun proudly raised her eyebrows, snorted, and turned to leave. Tomorrow is the Tian-Nan summit, our boss will naturally announce it to the public, you will understand at that time. Nangong-yi was dumbfounded. His daughter recognized a boss. This witch-like person actually called someone else boss. Nangong-yi understood his daughter's personality too well. Even as a father, even as the mayor, he could not do anything to his daughter. Zhang Liqing had accepted his daughter as a student and taught her about talismans, but his daughter did not treat him as a teacher and often even teased him. What kind of god could make his daughter willingly follow him? Chapter 31. The next morning. When the first rays of the morning sun broke through the shackles of the clouds and shone on the Tian-Nan City conference site, the entire square became noisy and the atmosphere of excitement filled the air. The end of the year event had begun. This was the gathering of the elites of the military, the government, and the business world. This was a competition for resources between the big families. It was a conference for the businessmen to announce their products or strategies. It was a platform for the politicians to announce their achievements or new policies. It was also a stage for the youngsters to show off their strength. In short, from the elite families to the common people, everyone was paying close attention. Drums and bells rang. Flowers filled the sky. Amidst the clamor of countless people, one after another, the majestic big families made a resounding appearance. A group of mercenaries dressed in brand new fine iron armor was the most eye-catching, with custom-made longswords hanging from their waists. They rode neat and uniformed giant green wolves and carried a majestic wolf flag. Their aura of battle experience made people tremble in fear. Wolf Fang mercenaries. The Ye family is here. The leader was a tall man around 40 to 50 years old. He wore a black robe and a dark gold cloak. His eyebrows were thick, giving people a feeling of power. Yi Xiong, the head of the Tian-Nan City Ye family. The Du family is also here. Du Zhen Tian. A few hundred red-robed warriors entered. This Du family was also a big family in Tian-Nan City. They were involved in the field of military equipment manufacturing. They were powerful, rich, and overbearing. They were a force that no one dared to look down on. The head of the family, Du Zhen Tian, was a 50 to 60-year-old man. This person had dominated Tian-Nan City for decades. He had pulled the Du family from a small family to a first-class family. His strength was not to be underestimated. General Xiong Bing. Mayor Nangong-yi. Alchemist Association Li Changyun. Talisman Association Zhang Liqing. One after another, important people appeared. Tens of thousands of people shouted continuously. The atmosphere was so lively that it was almost boiling. Suddenly, Meng Qinggu led the people of Nanyun Commerce into the arena. Other than Meng Qinggu, there were only 2 or 3 people. The shabby lineup and the vigorous families formed a strong contrast, immediately causing people to laugh at them. Ha ha ha, Nanyun Commerce also came to participate in the summit? Whether or not Nanyun Commerce can continue to operate is a problem. Is she asking for humiliation by coming to the summit? That's right. The Southern Cloud Pharmacy is closed, and the production of Southern Cloud talismans is about to stop. The fact that she was allowed to join the Chamber of Commerce is already a miracle. A chamber of commerce that couldn't even support its core business had fallen to the point where it couldn't even be compared to a second-rate or third-rate business. It was so poor that it had to sell its buttocks. It was only a matter of time before it went bankrupt. How could he have the nerve to participate in such a grand event? This was simply asking to be humiliated. All the rituals were completed. The summit had officially begun. Just like in previous years, the first event was the summit competition. In the turbulent and undying world, strength was always the most important. Whether or not a family could prosper, it all depended on whether or not it could give birth to a genius that could shoulder the responsibility. This kind of competition was to encourage the younger generation, to dig out the potential of the younger generation, to give them a stage to show off their abilities. Of course, fame couldn't be used to eat. Geniuses didn't need to be so ostentatious. Every year, every large family would rush to participate, so anxious that they didn't even bother to wear their pants. This was not to provide the citizens of Tiannan City with an end-of-year entertainment, but it had a special meaning, that was to redivide the resource fields. Tiannan City was surrounded by a large number of ownerless forest farms, mines, and spirit fields. Ownerless things, everyone would fight for them. More than 10 years ago, in order to fight for territory, Tiannan City was in chaos. Large families clashed head-on, small families stabbed in the back. No one was willing to suffer losses, and they were even more unwilling to see others take advantage of them. There were dozens of small and large battles, and there were heavy casualties. It was very tragic. In the end, a large number of people died, but no one reaped any benefits. The resource fields were still not developed. People finally realized that internal strife was like a eunuch trying to steal the top card in a brothel. Even if they got it, they couldn't use it. It was a meaningless action. Only harmony could bring wealth. Then what? The summit competition. Wasn't this a very suitable way to divide the resources? Once a year, the speed of replacement was very fast. If they failed this year, they could try again next year. Whether it was a large family or a small family, everyone had a chance. No matter how large a family was, it was impossible to have a new genius every year. No matter how small a family was, they could still produce 1 or 2 people, or they could pick up some lucky dog shit and recruit an amazing genius. Although there were often casualties in the competition, it was only among the young people. It was better than the elites of the families fighting. Not only could they avoid bloody battles, but they could also give the young people a stage. This would encourage the large families to pay attention to cultivating and searching for geniuses in the city. Why not? Therefore, under the mayor's personal mediation and notarization, all the large families secretly signed this agreement. From then on, the Tiannan Summit competition became the standard for dividing the territories. This tradition continued for more than 10 years. Chu Tian didn't understand the benefits involved at all. Chu Tian's participation in the summit was purely to make his presence known, and also to take revenge. Under the guidance of a white-haired old man, Chu Tian and more than 200 youths came to a small wooden house. Chu Tian had just received his nameplate when a cold and annoying voice entered his ears. A toad dares to sneak into the competition. You've really tarnished the reputation of the competition. Chu Tian didn't even need to look to know who it was. If a group of Ye family turtles can come, then the competition is not that high. I want to know how you can pretend to be so fearless. Yi Han's eyes flashed with killing intent. You should understand your situation. If my Ye family wants to kill you, it's only a matter of time. Actually, I also want to know, how can you be so pretentious? Chu Tian shrugged, it's just a worthless life. If you want it, then take it. I changed my mind. Yi Han put on a cruel smile. I will break your bones one by one in front of the people of Tiannan City. This is the only way to let everyone understand that this is the result of offending the Ye family. I want everyone to understand that this is the end of you, Chu Tian. Chu Tian smiled and said, really? Yi Han turned around and announced to the group of youths, all of you listen to me. This guy is mine. Whoever dares to beat him in the group competition, I will not be polite to him. Most of the 200 youths revealed a frightened expression. Arrogant. Overbearing. He announced in front of everyone that no one can beat Chu Tian. Don't worry, I will give you a chance. Chu Tian didn't look surprised or angry, as if the whole thing had nothing to do with him. If you're done, then please scram. Contempt. Naked contempt. Everyone present was shocked. There was actually someone in Tiannan City who dared to talk to Yihan like that. Chu Tian held his number plate and swaggered past Yihan, ignoring Yihan's face that had turned into a pig's liver. The competition began. East, west, south, north, and center, 5 rings were used at the same time. 2 against 1, the elimination round began. There are too many people here. Which area is Chu Tian competing in? Meng Yingying was like an ant on a hot pan, looking everywhere for Chu Tian's whereabouts. Meng Qinggu followed beside her sister, looking for Chu Tian's figure. Both of them were outstanding beauties. Wherever they went, they would immediately attract green eyes, which made Meng Qinggu feel very uncomfortable. At this time, the referee's voice came from the nearest ring, center ring, first round, first match, Yihan against Lu Fei. Everyone suddenly became spirited. It's Yihan. Isn't that the young master of the Ye family? Lu Fei is a young genius who rose from a poor family. It seems like there will be a good show to watch. Both of them are hot favorites to win. They actually met in the first round. Let's go and see. The two of them walked onto the ring. Yihan's eyes were full of disdain, his face full of arrogance. You are the famous poor genius in Tiannan City in the last 2 years? Lu Fei was a simple youth with a simple and honest appearance. He respectfully cupped his hands. Greetings, young Master Yi. I'm not a genius, it's all because of everyone's praise. As long as you know what's good for you. Hurry up and get lost. Yihan did not appreciate it at all, coldly saying, you think trash like you is worthy to be my opponent? Lu Fei's face suddenly turned red, but he forcefully suppressed it and respectfully said, young Master Yihan's cultivation is profound. Lu Fei knows that he is not your opponent, but I still want to try. I hope young master will grant my wish. Was it easy for a poor youth to train so hard to get to where he was today? Lu Fei hoped to use the genius competition to show off in front of all the big shots in Tiannan City, hoping that some big shots would value him and train him. Who would have thought that he would meet Yihan in the first round? This kind of opportunity did not come twice. How could he be willing to give it up? You don't know what's good for you. Yihan had already been angered by Chu Tian. Now that such a small character dared to challenge him, he immediately flew into a rage and released a threatening aura, peak 6th rank. Yihan's cultivation had reached the peak 6th rank. Compared to 10 days ago, his strength had once again increased. A firefly dares to compete with the sun and moon? Since you don't know what's good for you, then go die. Yihan's body suddenly condensed a vast battle aura, like a volcano suddenly erupting, completely enveloping Lu Fei. The powerful aura suppressed Lu Fei to the point that he could not move. His right hand carried the power of 1,000 caddies and suddenly struck towards his opponent. 1 palm strike, 8 desolations sweep. Ye family's secret art, 8 desolations palm. Ye family's experts usually only learned it after reaching the 9th rank of body refinement, but Yihan, who was only at the peak 6th rank, was able to display its power. Just based on this set of palm techniques, Yihan had the absolute advantage against those of the same rank. Lu Fei's face suddenly changed. He clearly did not think that Yihan would be so powerful. He immediately shouted, young master. Stop. I admit defeat. Too late. How could Lu Fei, who was only at the 5th rank of body refinement, resist? The 8 desolations palm landed heavily on Lu Fei's chest. The power was strong enough to shatter iron and stone, tearing Lu Fei's clothes on the spot. Like a wild rhinoceros, Lu Fei fell directly out of the arena and fainted on the spot. Too ruthless. This attack broke all his muscles and bones. Even if he survived by a fluke, he would become a cripple. Yihan patted the dust off his body in disgust. Poor people have short ambitions. You don't know what's good for you. People like you should end up like this. Yihan faced the others and shouted loudly, this year's competition, I am determined to win. If anyone dares to stop me, they will learn from their mistakes. The others all showed a look of horror. Yi-han's strength was really strong. Brother! A tender cry rang out from the crowd. A girl of about 10 years old rushed out and desperately threw herself in front of Lu Fei. This little girl wore patched clothes and used her rough little hands to help her brother up. The coarse hemp clothes were quickly dyed red with blood. Brother! Wake up! Don't leave me alone. Lu Fei heard the young cry and opened his eyes with difficulty. He stretched out a trembling cub and gently stroked his sister's rough cheeks. I'm sorry, brother, brother. I made you lose face. The little girl shouted, No. No. We don't want to compete. Let's go home, let's go home. Lu Fei shook his head with difficulty and 2 streams of tears flowed down. Brother is useless. I made you lose face, you, take care of yourself. Speaking up to hear, his arms suddenly fell down. His eyes were round and his pupils quickly dilated. Even at death's door, he still kept his eyes open. There was only one thought in his mind, I'm dead, what will happen to my sister? The little girl hugged her brother's body and wailed. Brother is dead. Brother is dead. If it wasn't for giving me a good life, I wouldn't have come to compete. Demon, you demon, why did you kill him? The little girl's eyes revealed a light of hatred. She recklessly rushed to the arena. Courting death. Yi-han's eyes flashed with a cruel killing intent. His right hand glowed with energy as he heavily struck at the girl. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.